What's up, Max? So I see Jeff Keaton chimed in on a Facebook post this weekend about you.
No.
He says,
I don't know if he's unfriended me or if I've just never like gotten to be his Facebook. But one day you tagged me on one of his posts, like on comments or something.
Oh, he wouldn't unfriend you.
Yeah, I don't think he would unfriend me. So I guess he just never asked me to be a Facebook friend. And I generally don't ask people to be my Facebook friend. So I guess we just never crossed paths.
We need to get a Max versus Keaton on her, I think.
No, but the thing is, like, Keaton is just a troll. So you can't have a serious conversation with him. Like, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, even if he's, like, even partially right, he'll just say some shitty stuff for the sake of it. So, I mean, we could have fun. We could argue from, like, silly things like, I don't know. I can't think of anything right now, but I'm definitely not having a serious argument with him.
He would be happy. Dakota Phend won this weekend. He decimated guys.
But I think Keaton has something that I don't know what happened to him, but I think he has sold his soul to the corporate world in RC. I think that's what's going on. He's just a straight up TLR fun boy these days, and I don't think he even races. He just loves.
He does. He does a lot of 10 scale. He does all 10 scale carpet.
Oh, okay.
Because he's up
carpet.
Yeah.
Is he one of those guys? Wasn't he one of those guys who's like, nope?
He likes
racing
carpet.
is.
Okay. Always like carpet.
I imagine him as a guy who is like, I want real off-road racing.
No. He would be like, he's not burning on those tires. Anyway, shout out to Jeff Keaton. He caused some issue. Jake. He actually had a good rant the other day though. But he still pissed some people off of that too. But that's what Keaton does. He's
fucking Jeff Keaton. Like, I don't think he's ever said anything which made like over 50% of the hearers happy. Like anytime he says something, more than half of the people like, fuck you.
That could be said about you too. That could be said about you too, and JQ.
No, but the thing is, the thing is, like, me and JQ are most of the time like right. Okay. So like, even if you hate us, you kind of have to agree. But Keaton says like such silly shit that it's just funny most of the time.
He does have some good input though. I did enjoy his rants.
Yeah,
his post was really good. It was about sponsorship. But anyway,
that one
Keaton, we have a good guest this weekend. All that good stuff. We got to talk about some silly season news. All that there. Let's drop that intro. Let's get cracking. And we're not going to be on too long this weekend. This week. It's Monday. Yeah, it's Monday. Mm-hmm.
Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC Podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right.
And let's get back to more club racing and less of this money-grabbing book racing.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right.
Yeah. See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
And our pick, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Leslie the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about
it. Here we go. $100 right here, $100 throw. Oh no! I like this.
Yes, indeed. Nitro's the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 215 of the No Name RC Podcast. I'm your host, Keno White, a.k.a. Lefty the Great. Over to the left is the arrogant one who's already started a war with Jeff Keaton, but that's all right.
No, I don't really give a shit what he says. I'm just having fun here.
Yeah, I'm sure he is too. He loves the reaction. Yeah. So it's 7 p.m. for me. It's like 1 a.m. for you. I'm traveling to Florida tomorrow. We're recording this before I leave. basically, so yeah, we're going to have a quick podcast. We do have a guest this weekend. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in a second. But before I do that, I have to say thank you to all of our supporters around the world. Thank you for all the support. I think we're at our 4-year anniversary coming up soon here on the 18th in a couple more days or 4 more days. And coming up to the end of the year here. So thank you to everybody around the world that has been supporting us. It's been 4 great years. We want to keep it going. And yeah, we're looking forward to 2023. So shout out to the NNRC squad around the world. Also, shout out to the patrons and No Name RC Podcast YouTube members. You guys will get early release of this podcast. Thank you for the support. If you wish to become a patron or an NNRC YouTube member, you can. The links are in the written description of this podcast. Also, thank you to the awesome companies that choose to advertise with the No Name RC podcast. If you are an RC company or non-RC company and you like what we're doing here, you think this is a great platform to promote your business, shoot me an email. We got our new sponsor tiers up and our new one page. I'll send it out to you. We're looking for all types of companies to come and join us next year. We do have limited spots. We're not taking a bunch of people sponsors this year. So get them in quick. And yeah, we have some great tiers. We're offering it. We're going to go big in next year. We're going to have a lot of things going on. Hopefully do some more event coverage like we did this year. But yeah, check us out. But shout out to the awesome companies that do support us. They are invisiblespeed.net. I don't know who has won the competition yet. I haven't asked JQ. He's been super busy. I'll talk more about that. TZO 200 Tires was talking to Nick, said they got a new tire coming out. TNR Fuel, shout out to Chris and his family. Looking forward to the TNR A-Main Challenge. I would actually like to go to that race. We'll see what happens. Beach RC, shout out to Brent and Lucas and the guys there. I see Lucas is busy pumping out videos as well. Check them out. If you wish to support Beach RC, there's a link in the written description of this podcast. There's an affiliate link, helps us out. Mayako, see that they're going to be releasing kits soon. So like kits, like non-engraved kits and all that type of stuff. And of course, Mayako's name is being thrown all around in silly season right now. Techno RC, another name being thrown all over the place in silly season as well. Shout out to Techno RC. Lugs Racing Tires. Shout out to Bryce and Brad. Papa Willie's Traction Tonic. Hello, Scooter. We do have written, sorry, for these next couple of ones, we do have coupon codes. They're all in the written description. G-Spec RC Tuner. Shout out. What's up, G-Off? Sompadal USA. How you doing, Hefty? Clinic RC. Shout out Tony and Vicky. Racecraft USA. So the Racecraft USA boys were at AMS this weekend. They look like they had a lot of fun. RCGP. Shout out to David Isherwood and all the members of the RCGP crew. House of RC, congratulations once again to Connie Svensson on his new appointment as large-scale chairman or vice chairman. And shout out to David Ronafalk, who's still trying to get his life back on track after losing his Facebook and getting hacked in his Instagram and all that stuff. But he is back on, and he's busy. I think he has a lot of carpet racing coming up. So that Tebow had a pretty decent weekend, finished 5th. He would still want to win, but had a good weekend. Shout out to him. Alexander Hagberg's in Malaysia. And of course, Robert Batlle, who we're going to talk about, who finally made the announcement that he's leaving Mugen. And while we're at it, I also want to shout out to Ardent Imprints, who's doing all of our USA swag. Go check out Jason Bukal on Facebook or Instagram. He's not just doing RC stuff as well. If you have a company, you want to get some stuff printed up, check him out, man. He's doing embroidery, printing all in-house there in the Southeast. Let's get him some business. Also, if you want some NNRC swag, check him out. Also, we have NNRC swag now available in UK, Europe through RC Haus. The link for that will be in the written description as well. Shout out to Sean Gregson. He came and he approached me and is like, I want to do the NNRC swag in Europe and UK. So if you are there, hit him up. I think he has a website. You can pick everything. They have hats. I have a bunch of stuff going on. Check them out. If you are getting some NNRC swag, shoot a picture of it, tag us in it. We want to see it. We thank you for the support, and thank you to those awesome companies for their support. Remember, they have more than just NNRC swag. So yeah, thank you. And remember, all links can be found in the written description of this podcast. And remember, everybody, showing these companies some love shows the podcast some love. And if you're a company interested, hit me up. We're going to send you out some paperwork. All right, Max. So real quick, our guest this week is, so last week, I didn't know if I was going to have Miko Widemar or Clayton Young. So I did record with Mr. Young. Great conversation with him. Just kind of getting to know him. And this is a guy I want to put my support behind in fixing Raw. He kind of calls it how he sees it. He's a straight shooter. He already told me his plan. He says it in the podcast. It's like, I'm not being, there's no nonsense. Either you're going to do what you're supposed to do or step down and let somebody else do it. So, looking really good, looking to be the guy that's needed to hopefully change Raw on as we have the Raw presidential elections and also other elections going on within Raw. So that was a great interview with Mr. Clayton Young. You guys check it out, and we'll have that up here shortly. So Max, they're very late. It's on the eve of me traveling. I need to pack as usual. And I leave out of here about 4:00 tomorrow afternoon. So this is my schedule so far. All right. So this is what I was up at 4:30 this morning, Max, buying my plane tickets finally for the South America tour with JQ. So we got that done at about 5 this morning. Was happy to, I was very happy that I have my ticket actually bought 9 days prior to me leaving, because I swore on I was not going to buy this ticket until the day I actually got back before I was about to leave. So now I'm actually going on a day before these guys and leaving a day after. So I go on, I literally go to Florida tomorrow. Florida Carpet Champs, can't wait. Come back home next Monday. I'm home for Tuesday. I got to wash clothes, do all that type of stuff, get a haircut, do all that there. And then I am on a plane. Where did Max go? I don't know. I don't know where Max went. He just shut down his computer and he went somewhere. Well, anyway, so for everybody that doesn't know, I will be then hopping on a plane and on the Wednesday, the 23rd, and flying to Peru, where I'll meet up with JQ. And I
dropped off for some reason. I don't know what happened.
All right. So I was just telling everybody that I come home next Monday, literally have 1 day home. And then Wednesday, I fly on to Peru, where I meet up with my buddy Sergio, spend the night at his place. And then on the Thursday, we pick up Robert and JQ. Now, the reason I left on the 23rd is just a battle flight. 5 hours, no connection, straight flight. It's a 3.5 hour drive from here where I have to go in the airport. And then coming back, I actually stay a day after because it's just a battle flight as well. Still have to do connection, but it's a lot easier through Panama. So 3 weeks with JQ and Robert in South America. With Robert, I'm sure I'll be fine. With JQ, it's just a matter of time before I hurt him. And I'm just going to do what Pecco does. Pecco just grips JQ in headlocks and throws him on the ground, throws him into bushes, and JQ he seems to enjoy it. So, yeah, definitely thinking physical harm will come to JQ very soon in this trip. So we have to get things straight, but looking forward to it. We're going to Peru, Brazil, and Santiago. Chile looks like it's going to be the biggest one. We got drivers coming from Argentina, maybe some guys from Peru coming as well. So it's looking, and it's a beautiful facility. So super excited. All right, Max. So we're going to talk a little bit about AMS today and some silly season stuff. Nothing too serious. We're not doing a full bore podcast. No questions, no nothing like that. We're just going to catch up because AMS, I would say, last big race of the year for the Americans and of the 8-scale season. I mean, we have Fall Brawl coming up in December. It will get some pro guys, but not too as many guys as this. So we had Alabama Manufacturer Shootout 13.0 this past weekend held in Coleman, Alabama. I've actually been to this race. I went when it was in June, and it was a little bit different. So they've had this race now in November or around this time for 2 years in a row, and the track definitely gets a lot different than what it does from when I was there. It gets dry, it gets dusty, gets a little more rough. But yeah, let's talk about it, Max. Let's talk about it. First off, I have to say, let's talk about the track. I really did like the track. Similar to last year. Bobby kind of put a lot of jumps. This track had a lot of jumps, different jumps. Yeah. I really like that section that came through the middle. It was like skippy jumps. They were kind of like jumps that sent you fast and far, and then into that triple that sent you up. I really like the track. Like
tight and technical. That's sort of the style Bobby's been going with this race for the recent years. So.
He did it last year, similar.
I like it.
Various different jumps and stuff like that. Also, this is the capped race, so very little entries. I think it was 120 some entries. I don't know if they filled up. Unfortunate, because I know that Dave has to make his money. I have a feeling maybe it's just a little bit too long on the 4 day.
Yeah, I don't know why they went 4 days.
Well, they went that way because 4 days? Yes, because when they were doing all the schedule and all that stuff, they like, you know, I believe Joseph helped them out with this, and I'm sure he went with he wanted the 4-day option. But I think for race time to get to fill this race up, they're probably gonna have to drop one of those days and figure out a way where people that can come late on Friday can get some practice.
Yeah, I think you're able to do like kind of like RCGP, you know, you're able to do 3 days and get it done with. Like
I think so too.
I think,
but the problem is that there's as many classes. That's the problem. There's also the amount of classes, so it's a little different from RCGP.
Yeah, I think it would ease it up a bit if they drop like the sportsman intermediate.
But that's not going to happen because people come and they want to do that, so that's not going to happen, and that's fine. But
those guys want their piece of plastic.
Well, I mean, the trophies are pretty nice. They look like so this year for AMS, he always has like they look like motocross placards.
Yeah,
so they look pretty cool. Okay, so let's talk about this race. Had all the top USA guys there besides Tessman, was the only person that didn't show up. Coverage was not that great at the beginning because it was just a still camera. You could see the whole track because it's not a very big track, but they did have moving cameras. I should bring up some of this here.
I think the moving cameras were okay. I think the mains were okay, but anything else they shot a GoPro or something on that. Would have been shy.
Well, I mean, they had pictures because I think what's his name? Jacob done all of this himself. So he's a busy man doing all of this on his own. So with that to be said, I was a little bit disappointed. Mind you, I was very busy this weekend, so I'm not going to lie. I did not get to go watch this live. I watched this today, actually, before I came on her. We're watching the Pro Nitro main, which was 45 minutes. Phend led this from start to finish. Oh, my gosh. He just dominated this.
Yeah. This is like his race, you know.
Mm-hmm. So he dominated this. He won Truggy. Truggy was a little close. Him and Maifield had some battles. See, I really like that long jump. And then into that, this is like a fast section of jumps. And you got a jump that sends you high. This little coming to the straight area was causing some people some problems. Ooh, look at that jump going on there. I like the track. I do like the track. Now that I'm looking at it again, I like this rhythm section, double, triple.
Yeah, I think Bobby did better than last year. Last year it was like technical, but at some point it was just like really hard to do every lap. Like here it's like if you hit your lines perfectly, you can do the same thing every lap. You know, it's not that you have to get a bit lucky at times, you know. So I think this is a better layout for like racing and stuff. Maybe it's a bit high speed, so it's hard to get close. But yeah, I mean, I think this track was really nice. Good job by Bobby.
I think so. We're watching the starter. I think Spencer Rifkin like broke right off the bat in this.
Yeah, I don't know. He looks fast at times, but I don't know.
Notes. So Tyler Jones actually. So I have to ask Lance again how the Super Bowl and all that stuff works. But I went to look at qualifying. Tyler Jones actually was in the C main and bumped up to this race. So good job on him. I think he had some bad luck in qualifying, it looked like.
Yeah.
And him, little bump, and hold on, I'm going to close this down a little bit, and then we'll stop sharing it. All right, so let's look at the results here. So I believe Tater, Tyler Jones, and Little Bump were the bump ups from this.
Yeah, from B
main.
B main.
But you know who else was in the B main?
I can't remember. Drake?
Cole Ogden.
Oh, yeah, this is what you said. Well, yeah, they have the new front end on the car. I would have imagined it would have been good at this track, but clearly, Little Bump did it. So who else was in the main?
Fuller, both Fullers. So let's
both
see who.
Fullers.
So we had
so
Mason Fuller. We had Caden Fuller and Little Bump with the 3 HB guys. By the way, HB went to this race in force.
You know what? Cole was on hot race, so that's why.
Yes, but so was Brandon Rose. He was on hot race.
Where did he finish?
7th.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand that you need J Concepts tires or Proline tires. Don't get me wrong. I understand.
I don't even think Proline's good at like J Concepts on like Indo. Yes,
I believe so. Let me check that. Let me fact check that. I probably
wrong. I don't know. I mean, he should be on Proline. He's been on Proline, but I don't know. Maybe Proline was good this year. But usually, like the southern races, it's like if
in these races, J Concept. Yeah,
yeah, it's always J Concept.
I'm just trying to figure out what Heckert's on real quick. I think it's on Proline, man.
Yeah, but talking about Hecker, finishing third, like in front of who was it? Tebow and Jones, I guess.
Yes.
So that was good. That was really good.
Well, he finished in front of. Oh, hold on. What did I do here? What is this?
I think that's his first podium in Pro Nitro Buggy for the year.
I believe so. Besides at RCGP, but
yeah, well, maybe he's on a roll. Like RCGP, he looked fast. He looked. I think overall, like obviously he's making a lot of dumb mistakes, but like if you overlook that sort of mistakes part, like he was super fast. When he got into the lead in the first main, he was super comfortable. And in the second main on Saturday, he just like, he went for it and got in the second and took the win. So yeah, I think he's found something maybe in his driving, in his program, because he's been looking really good recently. So I hope this keeps on. I like to see him do really well.
I do too. Mason Fuller in fourth. Okay, he's been finishing top 5 all year, mostly third, highest placement second. I'm not too worried about Mason. I was supposed to talk to his dad a little bit today, but I actually took a nap.
Mason was fourth, right, and then Tebow. Oh no, fifth. Jones. No, Jones was sixth. That was Truggy.
Yeah, looking at Truggy. So we had Tebow fifth, Big Joe Bornhorst in sixth, Brandon Rose seventh, Caden Fuller eighth, Adam Drake ninth. Wow. Did Drake run 40 plus?
I don't know if that's that great. I mean, I don't know. How has been Drake?
Hey, Drake hasn't made an A-man for a minute in Pro Buggy.
He hasn't? Okay. Well then good job. I think that's good then.
Yes. And who shucks, where was we? So let's talk about Dakota Phend. He lapped the entire field, Max.
Yeah, that was like an Ongaro performance.
He led from start to finish. Like he led, and like Maifield tried to get up to him, and Maifield was battling with him in Truggy, but yeah, he just dominated. I think this is Phend's race now. Like he's gonna win this race.
Yeah, like the thing, like he's on J Concepts tires.
Mm-hmm. So is Maifield.
But like so he doesn't have any disadvantage that way. His car is like super aggressive, turns tight, short rear arms, wide pivot, then C-hub front end, positive offset, all that. That's like perfect for tracks like this, like you get the car rotating fast, you get out of the corners fast. Yeah. And so this is like perfect for him. And then it's like a 10 scale track pretty much, in terms of like how you have to drive it. So yeah, definitely like this race, like last year he was good. He like almost lapped the field. This year it's just like I think like it'll be, as long as Bobby keeps these tracks the same style, I don't think anyone will be beating him, like if he doesn't have any issues for the future. Because this is like everything that could go his way is going his way at this race. Like to start out with, like not even like he just has to drive pretty much and he wins, because he's already at that level. He's like at any race he goes to, he's gonna probably finish second or first.
Yeah, I mean, but it's between Maifield and him now. It's been like that for the last 2 years. We've had some people step up and do well and win, or disturb that too. But right now, Ryan Maifield and Dakota Phend are the two racers that show up, and we just have a feeling that they'll win. But we looked at some numbers because we've seen a lot of people saying that this is the best year that an 8-scale driver's had, and I don't really agree with that in Dakota Phend, because at the end of the day, we'll look at some numbers. Barry messaged me today. First time he's messaged me in a while. He hasn't messaged me since the world. So what's up, Barry? He was very happy about Phend, but you should be, because I mean he peppered these guys. Like he if I'm a pro racer at this race, I'm contemplating life this morning when I wake up. Like, what am I doing? Why did I get lapped? But it's a smaller track, easy to get lapped. Man, well done to Dakota Phend. Barry's going to tell, he's waiting. Why Barry messaged me? Because he knows that his son, is going to say something about this.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing. Should we just go? Should you just tell them how the statistics look?
Let's go through the race. Let's go through this race. Let's go through some of this, and then we'll talk about Phend and Maifield and the year that they had. Okay. All right.
So Barry has to wait a bit to hear the truth once again.
Another fourth for Mason Fuller. Good. He would still want to keep that third place. Great run for Tebow. He would want to be on the podium or winning, but we'll talk more like this, but probably his last race on the Techno, it looks like. Apparently, that's the other rumors that's coming out. Not rumors, but like it's being out there now. Joe Bornhorst, I think he can be happy with a 6. Probably not what he wanted, but there and then they can take SRX can take some more positive things going out of this with Heckert's third. Brandon Rose, this is kind of where he's been all year on. 7th.
Yeah.
8th.
Brandon, I don't know if it's just that he drives so hard, but at times he looks like he's fucking fast. But then he always almost finishes 7th, He's like 7th or 8th pretty much every race at this point.
Yeah, but I mean, he's been consistent there, and he's going to make some more gains. Who I'm surprised wasn't her? I don't think I saw him in anything, but I'll talk about it. Caden Fuller, I think he goes in with an 8th. That's a good finish for him. Caden's definitely had a good year so far.
Has he made like a big main yet?
Yes, I think so. So this is not his first big main.
Yeah.
Like I said, Adam Drake in 9th. Hey, Drake has not made a main in a long time, so that's good for him.
But I think Caden, isn't he like a few years younger than Mason?
Yes. But
so
size is bigger than Mason.
Yeah, but we're talking all about Mason Fuller like being the big star, but like Caden Fuller is a few years behind, and he's already making mains quite consistently.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd be like, I think it could be sort of the Kilic effect, where Burak seems like the better driver for a long time, and then when Berkan gets to a bit older, he gets that speed. So, and the thing is, like, these two can practice together. So as long as Mason is faster, Caden has someone faster to match up to. And then when they get equal speed, which I think will happen, then it will be interesting.
Yes, Tater Sontag bumping up from the B main. Tater has had another quiet, decent year in 8 scale. He made the Nationals final. He made this final. He's been doing good in 10 scale. He's still only 15 years old. That's the thing about it.
Yeah. Tater Sontag is interesting. Yeah, Tater Sontag is interesting because people talked about him a lot, 5-6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But then he sort of, nobody talked about him for a while,
Right, because, what they were talking about him, he was good, but it was a lot of negativity, too.
Yeah.
But now he seems to have calmed down, grown up a lot.
Yeah, and also, he actually gets some pretty damn good results, too. So, I think he's one of those guys, people sort of haven't been focusing on due to the past perception.
I would be guilty of that, even though I've never met him. That kind of always stuck in the back of my brain. But then, I've been watching him over this year, and he's been doing really well. And then I got to meet his dad finally, at Masters, and he's done really well. We can't take it from him for young Max. You're on already, Max. You're only 29 minutes in, and you got the U-ones. That's late there. So very good job by Tater, and then good job on Little Bump making the final. He bumped up from the B, but it looks like he had an issue as well. Cavallari was actually in 3rd and 4th until it looks like he broke at the end. Well, he finished.
I don't know.
Let's see. Yeah,
I think Cavallari is just waiting to get to the winter break and then come out stronger next year.
Could be. I mean, he's probably going to be doing 10 scale a lot, but I'm trying to see because I was watching the race and I heard Lance said that he came off the driver's stand. So I'm trying to find where I see that in his laps, but I don't see it. Because you had to have, okay. So yeah, he went on to, he dropped out at the 33-minute mark. And that's about it. Let's talk about who wasn't in this main. So B-main, Seth Van Dalen 4th, Tanner Denny 5th, Cole Ogden 6th, Jared Wiggins, Lee Setzer. I'm not going to say too much about that. Ryan Pavitas 9th, Aiden Horn, more or less. Ryan Lutz in the B main.
What?
Not bumping up.
I thought he wasn't there. What's going on with him? Oh, maybe JKA though.
Could be. Let's look at tires. Let's look at tires in the B main and the A main. So we had JC, Proline, JC, aka JC, Hot Race, JC. I think Tater. No, Tater's might be Proline, JC.
Maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, I wonder why Tebow did so well with AK. I don't know. Maybe a lot.
I think the track got a little more rough and rusty and dusty for him. Maybe that helped out a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't know. Lutz usually is much better when the track's rough, though. Like,
yeah, I definitely.
You remember the Visions race where he was like crazy fast at times. So I think Lutz is just like these smooth tracks. I don't know if they really suit him.
Maybe, but not very good for very good for their last race of the year. I would say her.
Yeah, but he's done like surprisingly well this year. I was like waiting. Cole.
Yeah, I'm a little bit shocked at Cole because I had him winning this race.
Yeah,
I had him in the top 3 of this race. I think when we
what was my top 3? Phend, Maifield, Mason. I think mine was Phend, Maifield, Mason, and Mason was 4th. So
But it's like he comes off that great performance at the Worlds, and then he doesn't make a main at this race. It's kind of
I don't know what it is. I gotta be honest.
He went back from. Sorry, so I'm looking at her. It looks like he went on the. He was in. No, he was just. He looks like he just started at the back of the pack in 8th, and just could never get up to the front on this small track.
But what was it? Pavidis also in the B, Ogden in the B. Little Bump was the only HP apart from the fullest were both in A. Yeah. So it can't just be the car really. I don't know. Because they are running the new car. So they have a new front end. They already ran it at the Worlds. They have basically what they've done is they've put some shorter arms on the front end and then put some truggy parts on it, like the spin on it. So it's basically like a 10 scale style front end, like 10 scale 4-wheel drive, or what the Losi front end was before. Like, I'd be very surprised if they get that to work. At this track, it should work, which is surprising to me how Pavidis and Ogden struggle. Perhaps it is the tires. Like, Brandon just somehow got around, but yeah, definitely hot race tires aren't the best at this track. I remember Testman struggling loads last year.
Yeah. All right. Just also, let's just go through some of these other results before we move on and talk about Phend and his year. So Mason Fuller won the e-buggy finals. He won them in 2 e-buggy. He won the A1 and A2. So congratulations to him. He's an e-buggy spat. He beats these guys in e-buggy a lot. Sorry. That was just A3. Let's bring up in pro trip. So we have Mason Fuller, Mayfield, Rivkin, Phend, Bornhorst, Rose, Tebow, Jones, Horn, Cav, Fight, Little Bump, Cole Ogden, Spencer Hackett, and Jared Wiggins. So congratulations to Mason Fuller on that. Also in Truggy, let's see, Truggy main. I think Yeah, Phend won this, followed by Ryan Maifield, Bornhorst, Rivkin, Jones, Tebow, Fuller, Hackert, Ogden, Wiggins, Setzer, Drake, Cavallari, Seth Van Dalen. So Phend ripped it this weekend. Let's see who won intermediate real quick. Just intermediate nitro buggy.
How many HBs was there in the e-buggy main?
Let's see. HB went to this race in force.
Yeah, they had a huge like promoting it.
Yeah,
they had.
So we had Fuller, Little Bump, Cole Ogden. Okay, so it was 3. So we had Mason Fuller.
Yeah.
No, Jackson Bronson at this race.
Yeah, maybe he had done something else. I don't know.
Well, he lives in Arizona now, I think.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, yeah, I think he moved.
Yeah, he moved to Arizona.
Yeah, maybe then it's a long trip.
Yeah. Yeah. HB winning e-buggy. Still only 3 cars in there. They did win. I think they did pretty well in intermediate and all that stuff. But yeah, definitely a big race. Well done to all those guys who took part. Shout out to Cody Thompson. I saw he done pretty well as well from the CTRC guys. But yeah, good race. It looks like people got lots of track time. We did get moving cameras, so I do appreciate that. That I was watching today. But a lot of people came out of this. I saw some things on Facebook talking about Dakota Phend, and this has been the best year that a pro 8-scale driver's had and all this type of stuff. So I said, let's compare the numbers between these 2 racers. So I took Ryan Maifield and Dakota Phend. So these are the 2 racers that won. So I have SIC, DNC, Nationals, PNB, Silver State, Southern Nationals, Wicked Weekend, Worlds, AMS. So this is how it goes. Phend did not go to SIC. Maifield won. DNC, Phend 4th, Maifield 1st. Nats, Phend obviously won. Maifield 2nd. PNB 2nd for Phend, 1st for Maifield. Silver State 4th for Phend. Oh no, is it 4th? Did he finish 4th? Let me check that.
I think he was 4th. I'm not sure.
Yes, I might have got that mistaken, but let's check. Keep on going, Max. You got the list there.
Yeah, so Silver State, yeah, you're gonna check that. Southern Nats, Phend won. Maifield had a DNF. Wicked Weekend, Maifield won. Phend had a DNF. Worlds, Maifield was 4th. Phend had I don't know if he had a flame out or a DNF or what. But
no, he flamed out. I think he blew a plug.
Yeah. And then at AMS, Phend beat Maifield for.
So he finished 4th at Silver State as well. I was correct. So here we have Maifield with. Okay, so I guess we can
Maifield
throw away SIC. Throw away SIC because Phend wasn't there.
SIC. So all the races, all big races, both of them went to. Phend has 3 wins, whereas Maifield has. What is this? 4 wins?
4 wins. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And at the Worlds, Maifield, at least in the main, was stronger.
Yes.
And the one main thing here is that if we look at DNC, where Maifield dominated the race, Phend was only 4th. Obviously had a bad start, but still only 4th. Same thing at Silver State. Maifield wins. Phend only 4th, but every time Phend has won, Maifield has either finished 2nd or at the Southern Nats he had a DNF.
Well, I don't think he had a DNF. He had a flame out because it was 18.
Yeah, but anyway, like he basically had the technical.
But both our worst positions in this whole race have been a 16th.
Yeah, it's funny. It's
so ironic.
16. Yeah, but the thing is. The difference between Phend is that when he's not at his best, when he's not comfortable with the track, like a bumpy DNC or a bumpy soft clay Silver State, like that's very tricky for the car he's driving. That car isn't just made for tracks like that. whereas the Mugen as a car is much more versatile. It's quite neutral. You can tune it to almost any condition there is. Obviously, when you go to, DNC, which is probably Mayfield's strongest race, he dominates. And then you go to AMS, which is definitely Fend's strongest race, he dominates. But the main difference between Maifield is that he doesn't have anything else than first or second here, apart from that one technical where he finished.
And a fourth at the Worlds.
Yeah, and a fourth at the Worlds, which is still the best American. He was the best American at the Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why, even though it looks like Fend's had a great year, Mayfield still statistically has done better,
Well,
So,
but then but then for argument's sake, let's put a level of races that's won. Phend is a national champion.
yeah, but I mean, DNC, you had Europeans there,
Yes.
Ongaro, Runnerfox won it before, Marufalo was there, qualified second.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I'd say DNC and the Worlds are the most prestigious events.
So you
And
have it like me. I have the Worlds and then DNC. And
Yeah,
then I would say Euros and Nationals are about equal, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say Euros
After
and
that.
Nationals. Yeah, usually it depends. Like sometimes the Americans have higher levels, sometimes Europeans does. But over a certain time period, Raw Nats and Euros are generally at similar level races, especially at the top end. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think Europe has a little bit deeper field, and it might have something to do with the fact that the tracks are permanent. So there's more guys who are local to the area, can practice there and so on.
Right.
But apart from that, I'd say the two most prestigious events, DNC and the Worlds, Mayfield beat Phend, Then I'd say Nats is the second tier. And Phend won that. But it wasn't something like Phend just won it by a mile or anything. They battled for most of the main. Then I'd say the second most prestigious race, or the third tier of races, is PNB and Silver State. I think those two are the races which people
About
value
equal.
most.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're equal.
And at both of those races, Mayfield beat Phend. Then Southern Nats, Wicked Weekend, and AMS. Those races generally have not all of the guys in. Like Tesman wasn't here.
Well, Wicked Weekend was a little. I mean, they had the main guys there. Let's be honest. They had the main guys.
Yeah. They had the main guys, and I'm not arguing, but I'm saying if we had to put, a ranking to these races in terms of
these
level
races,
and
I agree.
prestige, it kind of goes like that. And if you go down the list, the higher ranked event, it was Mayfield usually, one over Phend at least. So that's why, even though Phend has had an amazing year, the TLR, the new TLR platform, or the upgrades they brought to this year, have definitely been an improvement, because last year did he even make the main at Silver State? So
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so Fend's sort of average position has been much better this year. I think his race program, the car, and his sort of skill and consistency has been better this year.
Yes,
but
he's finishing races.
Yes, but still, I do have to say, Mayfield still was the more impressive 8-scale Nitro buggy driver this year, which is what we focus on. Obviously, if you take into account 10-scale, e-buggy, stuff like that, then Phend probably, you could argue Phend was more dominant this year, because he almost won every 10-scale race, But looking strictly at Nitro buggy, Mayfield was the stronger driver this year.
Yeah, I would. Very close.
It is close. It is close. Yeah.
But it's amazing that these guys. So let's look at it. So to be honest, Maifield won. So out of these races, these two guys have won them all.
The funny bit is like big American races.
Besides the Worlds.
Yeah, besides the Worlds this year, all the races these, all the big guys went to, it was either Phend or Maifield who won them. So these two are just like so far above everyone else at the moment. Like,
yes.
And the thing is, like, Fend's worst result is 4th. Mayfield's worst result is 2nd, if you don't count the Worlds. Obviously they had the DNF or technicals, but
no, Mayfield's worst.
The Worlds.
Yeah. So I mean, they're not far off at all. Like, and the only person that's coming up here and being a thorn in their side seems to be Fuller.
Yeah, I'd say Fuller has been the 3rd best American this year. Yes, Cole did quite well at the Worlds, but apart from that, he's had B main finishes, stuff like that. And it's not like you can't say he's the 3rd best in America currently if you have it in a 1 B main a year, unless it's just like a really unfortunate situation. But yeah, definitely I'd rank Fuller the 3rd best American of the year. We're talking now like Nitro.
And the 2022. Yeah. And the 2022, I would not argue with that. I mean, people would argue that Phend is number 1 because he's national champion. But like you said, it's if you look at the numbers, Maifield has got more wins. Yeah. And then when I even talk about SIC, which would have gave him one more win because that's when all the other major guys were there. So besides Phend.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see.
Yeah.
But all right, so here's the question. Who do you pick if you go to any race in the world right now and Maifield and Phend are there? Who are you picking to win? Any race in the world?
Well, it's a bit difficult because at some tracks like AMS, it would have been silly to pick Maifield, and it was quite predictable. Phend is gonna be very, very strong. Mm-hmm. But if it was like, if I wouldn't know where the next race was and I had to make a choice, I'd pick Maifield every time.
Okay.
At this point,
And maybe next year, because you feel that he can win at any race, any type of
surface. And the thing is, like, if it is, a hardcore, like the track at the Red One wasn't really typical European track. Yes, it's typical Spanish track perhaps, but it's not typical, European. Like so Chile, where we had the Euros, like even Eskilstuna. Yeah, it's very, very different style to American tracks. And I'd say thanks to Maifield running a Mugen and the fact that platform is, in my opinion, more versatile than the TLR platform. Mm-hmm. Those two, like, those two just make me think, like, if I don't know where they race and I have to sort of blind pick who wins of those two, it's gonna be Maifield.
Okay, I would have to say that too. Even though I like Phend, and I'm a fan of Phend. If it came to a race that I didn't know where it was going to be tomorrow, and I know that these two guys are going to be there, I'm probably going to pick Maifield too.
I'd like to actually, if we get excited more about this sometime, maybe we look at the best laps, because I bet Phend probably had the best lap at all of those races. He just can't,
I bet you did.
Keep it on its wheels for the whole main. But that's sort of the style they picked, like Barry and Phend and who else is behind the sort of the production and setup and development of the car. They sort of picked, like, yes, Phend is talented as fuck, he can drive faster than anything for at least one lap, so they just picked a way to make the car just calm enough where he doesn't just crash all the time, but still keep most of the speed that he had. Like DNC 2021 DNC, like Phend was clearly the fastest, no question about it, fastest guy on the track, but still he ended up losing the Maifield by just crashing and making silly mistakes. But you can't really blame only him. It's more down to the sort of philosophy they have with cars. The philosophy is make a car as fast as possible, and they just hope he can keep it on his wheels. Whereas Maifield is sort of, he has a car he likes to drive, and then he just drives and waits for the other people to make mistakes. That's sort of the way he goes. It's not like Maifield sort of has, in my opinion, right now the perfect package for him. I don't think he could go, I don't think he could change anything and get better results, straight out, because I think all of it that he has, like engine, car, like his servos, everything is just like he trusts it. And that's, in my opinion, what gives that edge and why I would pick him over Phend. It's not just that I'm not even saying Mayfield's the better driver. I think his program all around is just a tiny bit better, and then Maifield is less prone to mistakes than Phend. And that's what makes it. That's what makes the difference between these two guys.
Okay. What about you guys out there? What do you think? Who would you pick out of these two guys if you had to go to a race tomorrow and you didn't know what it looked like? Let us know in the comments of this podcast. And also, while you're watching it, if you're watching it on YouTube, give it a share, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Sorry, I had to throw that shameless plug in there. Max, anything else you want to talk about before I go on to our guest, and then we come back on and do some silly season talk and finish up here?
I don't know. I'm actually excited for the Florida indoor carpet championship.
Yes.
Yeah. Jona is going as well. Jona, Mikael. Yeah.
I wish Pekka was
I'm pretty sure. I don't think Pekka is going, but
yeah, he's traveled quite a lot.
I think Jona is going because I think he was going to America, so I bet he's going to.
I didn't see him on the list of European guys coming, but that brings up something that I talked to you yesterday about. Like, it just came dude, I want to talk about, well, being as we're talking about best all like good drivers, I wanted somebody that piqued my interest, and I kind of just realized this guy's probably one of the best all-around drivers, and he's not even really started on his other discipline. But the Polish partners from Michael Orlowski, like, he can win on carpet. I don't know how he is on dirt too much, but in 10 scale, he's very good in carpet, and he's good in on-road. He was good at the Worlds in 8 scale. Nitro. He's good at e-buggy. Like, he's pretty all around. Like, and he's good. Like, he's a lot better than a lot of people might give him credit for as an all-around racer.
Yeah, if you look at his sort of credit for this year, it's like EOS champion, finishing the podium at the Euros in 10 scale. For 8 scale Worlds, like straight to the semis in the top 10, I believe. Didn't make the main, but I mean, his first like big race in 8 scale, period. Top 3 at the e-buggy Euros, touring car Worlds, finishes in the, at least he made the AMS. I can't remember where he ended up finishing. Like, what else? Oh yeah, ETS makes the main every time. Battles for like top 5. Beat Reinhard and Wilk and Hagberg at the race in Sweden. In the UK, he does really well. Usually wins pretty much all of the races against Tommy Hall and guys like this who are like the current top drivers on Astro, at least in Europe, and I bet in the world, because of Americans don't really run on Astro that much. So yeah, like, if you look at how much he actually races and how many classes he actually races, it's insane, how many good results he gets. Like, yes, I'd still say Coelho is better at that, European champion, is Nitro, world champion, 2-time world champion in full drive, off-road, like 2-time world champion in on-road 10 scale. I think he's European champion in Nitro touring cars. Like,
Yeah,
his list is
we know where he
fucking
wasn't.
crazy.
He wasn't at the Worlds this past weekend, unfortunately, though, because he doesn't run Nitro anymore. Infinity guy won that. Who's that dude? So we had the
Tadahiko Sahashi. He won the 2013. Was it? I don't know. 2013, I believe, was the year of 1/8 on road.
Okay, so he's like okay.
But he's
like Adrian Bartine.
Well, I mean, kind of, but I mean, he's still relatively young. He finished second, I believe, at 1/10 Nitro on road worlds. He's really, really good and being good for a long time in Nitro on road classes. So
right, but now he's joined.
He's been with Infinity for a while, but it's a bit. I think COVID is still more of an issue for Asians, so that's why we really don't see them travel that much. But like, even if you look at the 10 scale on road electric worlds, like there were two Japanese drivers in the main, Sabu, and then can't remember the other guy's name. At least 2 drivers in the main from Japan, and Tadahiko Sahashi, winning the on-road worlds. Naoto,
Hero. Where did Naoto finish?
Naoto, I think he had some issues. Can't remember if it was like, I don't know if he made the podium. I watched the main, but can't remember where he finished now. But
I haven't watched the main yet. But he joins the group with Adrian Bartine, who's won an 8 scale worlds and a 10 scale worlds now.
Yeah.
So,
I think he's like, it's funny because there's a lot of talent in Japan, but people don't really see it that much. They don't race enough in the Western world to get seen, and it's a bit of a shame because I think people often underestimate the Japanese racing scene. Obviously in like Nitro off-road and like basically just all of off-road, they aren't that good as they are in on-road classes. They are really good.
I understand what you mean. What you mean. All right, Max, I think that's it. I don't really have anything else to talk about race-wise. We're gonna go talk about some silly season news that popped off this afternoon while I was taking a nap on this Monday. Anything else to add before we go on?
No, I think that's it. Let's talk about Robert Batlle.
Okay, well, we gotta go to our. We're gonna talk about that. You're jumping ahead of this game here, Max. You're jumping ahead.
No, I'm teasing the people. They're gonna hear that Robert Batlle is going to. Yeah,
I mean, they could just read your lips. But our main interview is brought to you by Robert Batlle. See, look at me. You got me thinking of Robert, like gonna about to say, brought to you by Robert Batlle. Brought to you. Our main interview this week is brought to you by Techno RC, and it's an interview with the gentleman who's running for Raw President, Mr. Clayton Young.
Techno RC. Techno RC is a premium manufacturer specializing in 8th and 10th scale high-performance off-road RC buggies and trucks. Visit www.technorc.com for a complete catalog of their products. Techno RC. Excellence in engineering. #Techno Takeover.
Joining me today in the virtual studio, we tried to do this yesterday, but he had technical issues.
I did. It was all my fault.
Usually I have the janky internet, but this gentleman to my virtual left had bad internet.
Yes.
You're so clear, and it's so good to talk to you without being all choppy and all that stuff. But welcome. I know a lot of people like wondering who this gentleman is, but he's Mr. Clayton Young. He is the Raw. Which region are you the representative of?
I'm the assistant rep for Raw Region 2.
Okay. And you are vying to be the Raw president, which the votes are open now I believe they open on the 1st of November and they close on the 31st of November?
30th, yes.
30th? Okay. So if you're a Raw member, get on there and vote. And He says we met in 2021 at the Nationals. I can't remember.
It was 2020 at LCRC.
I never went 2020 at LCRC, right?
Yeah. Oh, was that 21?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I don't recall that, but it was very dramatic. So
so we had the rain out.
Yes.
There was lots of stuff going on.
The fuel tank issue, but
that never really got addressed. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, good. So we can talk about that.
You could talk about everything.
Okay.
I
great.
was competition director right up till that race.
Okay.
And I got so frustrated with things not changing that I resigned. And my life got busy. So.
Okay. So all right. Before we get into that, let's tell people a little bit about who you are, because I think we're going to have a great conversation here. You've been into RC for about 6 years now. How did you discover? Okay, can I go? You said you're a retired Marine.
Yep.
Thank you for your service. You're now working in the private sector. You found RC about 6 years ago. You've been racing a lot this year. You've been to a lot of races. My friend Hefty talks very highly of you. Has talked very highly of you on this podcast.
He's hilarious.
He's been on me to get you on her. Zach Donovan's been on me to get you on her. Kyle Chasen. A lot of people have been on me to get you on her. So this is my first time chatting to you. Welcome to the NNRC. And I think we're going to have a great chat getting to know each other here. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Clayton. How did you get involved in RC? And what led you to getting to RAW, becoming a RAW member or becoming involved in RAW?
Right. So when I was a child in Northern California, some people on the street had pan cars and they were running them up and down the street. And so that kind of got me interested as a young kid, probably like 10, 12, 13. I was racing motocross until I dumped over too many times.
Okay.
And then I joined the Marine Corps right out of high school. And I've always had always wanted to do the sport. But being in the Marine Corps, I could afford something here or there, run for a few weeks, and then no more time to run or money to run kind of deal. So like I've been interested in it my whole life, but I raced seriously. I think like 6 to 8 years ago, I kind of got serious about it and spent time and talked to people like Paul Lemieux, because I was running an X-ray at the time. And he's like, if you want to get better, you have to travel. No matter how good you are at your local track, until you travel, you're not going to get any better.
Mm-hmm.
So I started traveling around to races, and because I came from the 180 area, you're racing against all the national champs every week. Like FJ will tell you, or Hefty will tell you, you go there to get your beat downs. But
right, we're talking about on-road her up in Maryland, right?
Yes, yep.
Right, he was talking about that. Yeah,
yep. And it makes you better. It's a bull ring of a track. It feels like it's like 10 feet by 10 feet, but I mean, it's probably like 80 by 30.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest names on road, not all of them, but a lot of them are there. So you learn, and most people are helpful. They'll push you, they'll help you, and you just get better.
Okay. So on-road was your first introduction into real racing then?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And you have done some off-road stuff as well. You're doing some this year. You're going to Florida Carpet Champs next weekend. Well, when this airs, you'll probably be there. But yeah, tell us about that. When did you get into the off-road side of things?
When I moved to Coastal, all they had is off-road. Well, not all they have. The majority of Coastal here in the Virginia Beach area is off-road, and we have Brendan Schimmel.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a good off-road guy that kind of lays the smack down. He's traveling so much. Yeah, he's traveling so much that we don't see him a lot. But when we do see him, we get a dose of reality. When we thought we were fast, we're half a second off a lap.
Oh man, I got to see him at Mod, right? And I know Brandon and his dad, right? And when they were doing 8 scale real heavy,
mm-hmm.
He was so fast. Like, he was so good there. And he said he's moving up to Mod. So I really wish him all the best. He put in a lot of work over the last 2 years. A lot of work.
Yeah. Even when he runs on road, I'll work on his stuff. He'll be faster than me driving. He just doesn't work on his stuff enough that I can end up winning, because his stuff will start falling apart and mine won't. But he can be
amazing. So you're down in Coastal. It's a great facility, by the way. Looks like the Shimmels have done a really good job there. If they held was it this year they held the Nationals?
No,
last year.
2 years ago.
Was it 2 years now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Onward Corporate Nationals, right? If I recall. Okay.
Yeah, because last year was in Texas. So at the very least, it would have been the year before. I can't remember.
It had to be 2020 then.
Yeah, I think it was the COVID year. Just as things were getting crazy.
Yeah. So, I've heard. So yeah, they're in the Virginia, Maryland area. There is you got adrenaline up in that. Well, adrenaline's a little bit down, a little bit or more.
It's more north and towards the west. Right.
So you come from it's not, I mean, it's a little further than you got the southeast down below. You got the northeast right up there where there's a lot of good guys. You got the southeast down below. So you're kind of in the middle of a very good area of decent RC. I mean, it's not too far to the north, like LCRC in those places, I would assume.
Yeah, that's about 6 hour drive.
Okay. That was a 9 hour drive for me from Charlotte. And because you're way out on the coast. So but you're in an area, in a hotbed of RC. I would say the East Coast is very strong in RC. Florida right now is probably banging really hard, in South Carolina with 8 scale, because that's what I focus on in the Carolinas. But do you do any nitro racing or all electric stuff?
I tried the nationals at LCRC, and I brought my Losi to the guy who designed the Losi. And I told him it wouldn't steer. And he's like, I've never, ever heard anybody tell me there's not enough steering in one of my
Losi.
In a Losi. And then he started looking at it and he's like, oh, this is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. I had glued stuff that wasn't supposed to be glued.
Oh, man. It's a challenge. It's a learning curve.
Yeah, you don't want to come to a nationals never having built one of those things before by yourself, and then show up and think, oh, yeah, I can drive. Well, if the buggy doesn't work, you can't drive no matter how good you are.
No, that's what as JQ says, let's unfuck your car first. That's what he always says to people. Is like, first, I will unfuck your car. And he always has to do a lot of that to people, like simple things. So it's definitely a learned process. All right. So 6 years, you've been 6 to 8 years, started on road, dabbled in off road. When did you get involved in ROAR, and what made you decide to do that?
So ROAR had an opening for competition director, and because everybody hates ROAR, I would have liked to start a new sanctioning body, but that wasn't real. So the only way, and as a Marine, if you do something, you go all in. The only way to fix it is to go be part of it. Instead of complaining about it, go do something about it.
Okay.
So I became competition director. And when I joined, I told him, I said, look, there's like 3 things we have to fix, or I'm out. 2 years and I'm gone. I said, the first thing is we got to get membership right. If people can't register and become a member, then like, what are we doing?
Okay.
The website needed to get fixed, and the rules haven't been updated in a million years. Even if it's not changing them, at least stop making links to everything in their brother so nobody can find anything. And then when we change stuff at a NATS, you don't put it in the rule book, you just talk about it. And then you go to the next NATS and you can't remember what happened at the last NATS. And it's just so confusing. So the president had me rewrite the national guidelines for racing, because that's what the competition director's job is. So I rewrote those the first couple months, got those approved and posted. And I'm thinking, all right, we're making change. So I'm like, all right, now the rule book. And it was like, oh, well, I'm like, remember what I said. So he's like, okay, go ahead, get it reorganized. I got it reorganized, added all the rules that were links. Got the whole committee to vote for it. Everybody was like on board. Yep. We checked all our sections. We're good. Let's go ahead and post it. And then Chuck didn't like the way I reorganized to the classes up front and all the BS towards the back. So I'm like, okay, well, tell me how you want it. Oh no, I'll do it. I'll do it. And for the next year and a half, it never got released, never got posted, nothing. The membership, I'm like, okay, what can we do for membership while this is going on? I got Live RC to come up with an agreement to where we could manage the membership through their website. No additional cost to Roar whatsoever, because they have different agreements with PayPal and stuff. So they would have still got a little bit of money, but for the most part, we wouldn't have had to deal with it at all, been digital. And Luke Pittman, I was talking to him about, he's an on-road guy. I don't know if you know who he is, but
no.
He has a company that does IT stuff, and they were going to give us a quote to do it, and we never pulled the trigger on that. So
this was, when did you join, actually? What year did you join?
2020.
Okay, so this is not too long ago.
No, actually, it was 2019. Sorry.
Okay.
2019, yeah.
So you get in, you're a Raw member, you get in, you get it, you take up this position. And so Kleinhagen is the president of Raw, right?
Yep.
At this point. I don't know all the people that are involved in Raw, to be honest. I know only a few.
There's only actually a few involved. So
yeah, I know who Jeff Parker is.
Don't get me started.
I will definitely get you started on him. Very good interim IFMAR president.
When you fall into positions, it's not hard.
No. Well, I've pretty much not talked very good about him on this podcast.
That's pretty much the whole, when we go to races, that's everybody's opinion.
So like, I'm glad everybody's opinion. I'm glad I don't feel like I'm picking on him. All right. So you get into this position, you're meeting. So, all right.
And I also volunteer for RMT. So I go to every national and do some part of RMT during that 2-year time. So I can get a feel for what's going on and what needs to be fixed. And like you said, Jeff Parker is great at talking on the phone, but not so good at paying attention to what's going on in the races. And the race director should be paying attention what's going on the track. Everything else can wait till the stuff on the track's done.
Yeah, I was definitely on his phone quite a lot. Both Raw Nationals I've been to, he was on his phone. Everybody that I talk to says the exact same thing, that he's always on his phone. So, all right. So pretty much what we've been saying for the last few years about the federations and period is true. It's just this old gardener that doesn't want to let go. They got their ball. It's in Afra. It's in probably, I don't know about the other like Farmar and FEMA. It's FEMCA.
Yep.
But Raw IFMAR and Afra seem to be suffering from the exact same issues that we talk about. You seem like you're a very go-getting type of guy. Let's fix this. Like, I agree. Everybody's like, we need to start another sanctioning body. I'm like, you don't get it. You're never going to get recognized. No matter how good you are, they're going to play their games and they're never going to accept you. Look at Norca. Yep. So that's not the answer. Also, you have a great base with Raw. Like, you know what I mean? They have money. I believe they have money. They should have something in the coffers. They have people that do have experience that maybe want to do things differently. And they're recognized by the whole governing body of RC.
Right.
So you got to just kind of get in there and fix this. And it's not going to take one person. It's going to take one person, yes, like you, to get in power and try to do things, but it's going to take people that's going to back you in the committee to pass things and get things done. How does it, so I want to know, so people that are listening here, how does something get passed in Raw? Like, take me briefly through the process of getting something approved, or like, you know, you trying to get how long did it take you to write those rule books and those rules and get all that done? And for them, and even if they did agree to do it, how long would it take to process that?
So it took about 5 months of wrangling people to chime in, like in your section. Like, you have an electric chairman, you have a fuel chairman, you have a technical director. So those people need, like, technical director needs to review rules. The electric chairman should be looking over all the electric sections. Get rid of stupid stuff like radio impound and stuff that we don't do anymore. Like, the rule book's 1,000 pages long. Really, it's like 100. But, like, get rid of the old stuff. We don't need clips for antennas anymore. Like, get rid of all the stuff we're not doing. If we're not doing it, take it out of the rule book. If we're going to do it, put it in the rule book. But if we're doing it and it's in the rule book, enforce it. Otherwise, don't put it in the rule book. Right.
So to get something passed in Raw, how many people have to vote on it in the board?
Majority rules. Majority rules. So right now, there's 5 people that are voting members. You have the vice president, which is Garland. You have Chuck as president. You have Rob King. He's a technical director, so he's in charge of rules. You have Brent Klingforth. He is the secretary. And you have Jeff Parker.
Okay.
You also have Joaquin and EA for fuel and electric chairmans, but they don't get to vote. They just get to listen and chime in.
So you have to get 3 out of those 5 votes then.
Yeah,
basically.
Well, there's 2 open positions. There's a promotions director and a sanctioning director, who the promotions director has been pretty much vacant since I left.
Oh, so they need some people there.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
There's already open positions.
That would be great for you, Brent.
Fuel people, like people that seriously want to do something and realize that you're not getting paid. This is voluntary, so you got to have the time to do it. There's going to be openings.
Okay.
And promotions is huge to me. Like that's like the one position you shouldn't be empty on is promotions. Like, how are you getting people to know what's going on if you're not promoting anything?
That would explain why Raw is non-existent.
Yes.
That would explain.
And it shouldn't be just about Raw promoting. It's about promoting the sport. Whether it's Raw or not, it doesn't matter. Put it
We're
out
not doing
there.
that as an industry great enough, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
As an industry, we're not doing a damn good job at all, in my opinion. All right. So 5 of those guys have to vote. 3 of those guys have to vote to get that right now. There's positions opening. So say I'm a regular guy. I'm paying my Raw membership. I want to be involved more. How do I do that?
So right now, there's elections for regional directors. But as a person, you probably, once things are squared away, you would get with your regional director and see what you can do to help. He'll probably make you an assistant regional director or tell you, hey, I'm tired of being regional director. If you've got the time and energy, let's move you up and make you regional director. Like the sport has tons of people who want to help, but like you said, they don't know how to help. And there's nobody organizing the help. So
and there's no one to pass the torch and teach people how to do things. I think.
Right. Exactly. Like it's crazy to me, maybe because up at 180 or in the Northeast area, you were pretty much beaten into submission on how to marshal and how to drive. If you're rough driving, people are going to be all up in your face because you wrecked them. But it seems like when I go to these big races, people are doing it more and more because Roar doesn't call anything.
Yeah, because they don't have no referees.
Right.
I actually went on this. I said this on the podcast after the Worlds. That guy Stetson, who's over there, who did the refereeing for the Worlds, that guy should be like training people how to do it, in my opinion. Maybe you're not going to be just like him. He's really strict, but he knows all the rules. He is, for me, one of the best referees ever. And if these federations really work, they'd have people coming there and getting trained and certified and stuff like that. Just like any other sport.
Is that Javier? Was his first name Javier?
No, his name Mark Stetson. He was the referee. Okay. Javier is the president. That just resigned. But I'm going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in a bit because he said a lot. He's saying a lot of the things that you said are saying right now.
He, him and I did the Worlds at Steel City. He was the chief referee, but I was learning from him while he was doing it. And like you said, I learned a ton of stuff from him, and he was very professional the entire time.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. He just resigned from EFRA this past weekend too, as the president. All right, so I lost my train of thought. We're getting all over the place because I'm getting excited. So people can join. They can do it. How does the voting work for you? So as a Raw member, does my vote count for you? And how do I do? Oh yeah, because you just go on and you vote, right? I saw that earlier.
You use your login. It'll only let you vote once with your login. And I've had a lot of people message me because they never got their Raw number when they did their membership, so they don't know what it is. For those people, I would say still vote. The administrator, Bob Ingersoll, is supposed to be checking your information that you're putting in there, even without your WAR number. They'll check your email address and your address and your name to confirm that it's legal. But yeah, if you are a ROAR member and can log in, go vote. I don't care who you vote for, but vote. So that way we get change.
Yeah, because your competition is Larry David, and Hefty had some pretty good stats there. You've been to quite a few races over the last 2 years, I think, or something like compared to him.
Yeah, he showed me this website that was really cool. I'm like, I've done all that. I have like a 50% win rate. That's kick ass.
Oh, RC Garage, yeah. Tell us. So if you get voted, or when you get voted, because I think you're going to do pretty well. What will be some of the first things that you have to do to Raw to start changing things from that position?
The first thing we've got to be able to do, I feel like the most important thing, is to run races correctly.
Okay.
So the RMT would need to change so that people aren't showing up, not knowing what the schedule is, not knowing what to expect, not feeling like nobody's paying attention. Like, go eat dinner with these guys. Go have fun. Like, spend time with the racers. Don't show up in the red, black, and white shirts and we're war. It's like, we're Disney. Screw you. Like, no.
Yeah.
No, we're Roar. We need you. Like, we need the racers to come to the Roar events, to go do all the other events that are out there. We need to promote the sport as a sport, not as, hey, we're Roar, we're the sanctioning body, we're untouchable. We don't want you to know what we're doing. Like, we need to be part of everybody's life.
Right. And also, I like the fact that you call this a sport and not just a hobby, because that's a big argument that I have, because I consider it a sport.
Yeah. And FJ or Hefty and I get into this all the time. It's like, we're with toy cars. I'm like, they're race cars.
Scale motorsports, dude. Scale motorsports. That's what we call it
too. Like, it's the most action, the most action-packed 6 minutes in motorsports.
So I do agree with that, because from my experience in 2021, I've said this many times. If it wasn't for Kevin Mama and his track crew doing an excellent job at LCRC and just pushing that program along like they did, Raw would have been in so much trouble. I actually feel that him and his crew should be, or he should definitely be somebody in Raw as well, because because that guy knows his stuff. He should be part of a RMT, I think, that goes to these races.
I think he was at one point.
He was. Him and his son drives X-Ray mechanic, I think.
Oh yeah,
Ethan Mechanic's dad. So they know their stuff because they were involved with Raw. I think they need to get. I think they kind of ran into the same thing that you ran into, like just this Earl Guard. Let's talk about this Earl Guard. How do we fix that? Because there's only one answer to that, in my opinion, and that's they got to go.
Yeah. So, and I've told the ones I've met with, when I take over, the first meeting is, look, if you don't have time to do this, resign. Because if I give you a task and it's not completed by the next meeting, I'm going to call for your removal. And it doesn't take a unanimous vote. It only takes a majority. And I have a majority already as soon as I get it. So this isn't going to be as hard as it's been in the past, because without a president holding stuff up, things go.
Well, it's just like you have to do it, man. These guys have to be held accountable for what they're doing, or put somebody in there that wants to do it.
Yep, exactly. And I resigned partly because I was frustrated, no doubt, but a lot of it was because I don't have any more time to give to do this. If we're not going to get things done, then it's not worth my time.
I agree with you. I get accused of being really hard on these federations sometimes. JQ and I, but I just think
like that's what needs to happen, though.
I think
you guys
so.
are the press. You guys need to hold the sanctioning bodies accountable. And if we there's no sanctioning body that's going to hear everything that happens in a race. So stuff can happen that wasn't even brought to their attention. But if they pay attention to media, there should be no doubt what happened, because you're going to hear it and then hear 6 ways to Sunday,
right?
And just explaining it of, well, we didn't really know. We'll look at it, and then never do anything. No follow up.
I've defended Raw. I've defended Raw to the utmost because I feel we need it. I feel we need these federations. We need them. When I think of these federations, I think of days like reading through BMX magazines and wanted to join the AMA, or wanting to become a member of Raw as a Bermuda, because I used to live I'm from Bermuda originally. We couldn't be a member of Raw. We had to be a member of Afro, or we had to be a farmer. We could, we dreamt to be things like that because we wanted to go to a Raw Nationals or something like that. And I think that prestige has gone because a lot of people say, well, what do I need Raw for? I just pay the Nationals come up and I pay my $30 and my entry fee and I'm in. It's a race on the clock.
You want to know something cool?
What's that?
So here's a reason to join Roar once things change. We had the manufacturers in 1/8 off-road had begged for us to do a series championship instead of a single championship.
Really?
So I got commitments from like the big race people like Scotty and Joey, and they were all on board with hosting a qualifying race. And
I know where you're going.
Yeah, and so we would have qualifying races for the championship, and the last race would rotate between the 4 tracks that were championship tracks. So it would always end up at a different track. And once we've cycled through all the tracks, we could have another track. But so we got agreements to do this, to have all the manufacturers were on board. We got tracks involved that said, "Yep, we'll host it. You just tell us when." LCRC was one of them. There was a track down in Florida that was one of them. But anyway, so we got all these agreements, and we're supposed to announce it at the LCRC what was going to happen, and the whole thing got pulled again by president. Just stop. No.
Oh, so the manufacturers agreed.
Oh yeah, no. I had meetings with the manufacturers every month for like 4 months to get to hash out these things, and there was a lot of tribulation. Like at first, I was like, there is no pre-qualified because they wanted to have their drivers qualified, right? Well, to me, I'm a racer. I'd rather race my way in than be pre-qualified. But Gord Testman brought up a good point. We spend a lot of money going to all these races already, so to have to throw in even more races, if we're pre-qualified, we don't have to try and make 1 or 2 more races to get qualified. We would just be based off of last year's. So it was like you take the top 20 from last year's Nats and the top 20 from these 4 qualifying events that aren't already qualified. So you could finish 35th because, Dakota and all of them were already qualified from last year. And you are now qualified for that championship.
But that kind of defeats the purpose of having a series. The point of this series is to have so RCGP, unfortunately, didn't get all the manufacturers to agree, right? But the point of this series is to have the same people to go to the series and race in them. And that then creates storylines, excitement, all this type of stuff. And I don't think that the RC industry thoroughly or fully understands that point at all. The manufacturers and they might want, but they have to make a decision not to go to some of these other big races and commit to the national series.
Well, so the idea was to use the big races as a national series.
Even better.
Yeah, so then you're not changing anything. But the people in Roar wouldn't agree to do that. So the compromise was to do qualification events and still have a nationals. But the original thought was to do, like you just said, was to have like AMS and all those big races that are nitro races. Those were going to be the series because they're already going to them. And those hosts said, sure, we'll run a Roar, you have to be a Roar member. This is the championship series. Like they would have a class just for them. They were all on board.
Oh, really? See, that was.
I didn't get to talk to every one of them, but everyone that I did talk to was cool with it.
See, man, it's the only way to fix this is just, they gotta go. They gotta go. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not even gonna like dress that up. They gotta go. You gotta get people in there that are thinking like you. I know there's some good people in there that want to process things and progress things too. I think they gotta go, man. I'm sorry. I have not, and I think something as good as that gets pulled last minute. So no, like that. We, as much as I would want people to do that for RCGP, we was talking about this the other day, but we just want the industry to get behind something, like for everybody to get behind something, and that would have been something to get behind. Don't go to every single race Like, they have a national series in England. It's like 5 races long. Like, you bet your boots that Elliot Boots goes to as many as he can because he has to keep his worlds. Like, that's a big thing. It makes it prestigious. When you talk to a young guy in England, when I was over there this year, he doesn't say, I want to be a pro driver. He says, my goal is to make an A final at one of the nationals. He's not saying, that's a realistic goal to have. Like, that's a, they're realistic. Like, they're not saying, I want to be a pro driver. I just want to make an A final at a national because the nationals are very prestigious, So it's very shocking. Not even shocking. I'm just amazed. Heritage, I guess they thought. I think Raw needs to figure out a way to start working with these races.
Absolutely.
We constantly complain about referees and all this type of stuff. And when somebody says, what does Raw do for me? Well, I came up with an idea once on the podcast. It's like, hey, maybe Raw can coordinate with like Race Time or Joey to say, hey, look, we're gonna send a team out there to do tech and to do, or maybe not tech, or just to do, we're gonna send 3 guys out to do refereeing, right? We just want, and just figure out some way that we want you to help push membership. You know what I mean? And we'll have a special membership. You sign up at DNC, we'll give you the membership for $20. What is your $20 given? Well, it's helping these guys come here. So you always wanted referees, here you go. You have 3 guys here to do a rotational referee job because it's a long race. Things like that. We gotta think out of the box because Afro was having the same issue. They were calling these races black races, and they consider like RCGP and any race that wasn't an Afro affiliated race a black race. If one thing that RCGP did was great was they got Afro to cooperate or coordinate with RCGP, and it was just simple. Like, we wouldn't put any dates of our Euros on a date of an RCGP race. But that's coordination and that's advancement. So Raw isn't even at that, in the eyes of the people, in my opinion, they're not even at a level, because Afro is a very good, in my opinion, they're a good federation, but they need updating too, like yesterday. So Raw's already like this on the average. Like, you got races like DNC in the 8 scale, you got DNC, PNB, and all these races that mean more to people. The national still is very something prestigious, but that's more for people who are really hardcore racers, who they want to go to. And maybe in that area, like if it goes up the Northeast, it's going to be full of the Northeast guys. If it goes down to Florida, it's going to be full of everybody from the Southeast. And then the hardcore guys that will travel to that. So it's like you got races out there that are almost on equal level prestige as a Raw Nationals now. DNC probably above a Raw Nationals, I would say, to an extent.
The sad thing is that Roar doesn't feel that way. Roar feels
they're delusional.
And like everybody only worries about a national, but it's not true anymore. Like back in the 70s, maybe that was true, but we're out of that era. We're freaking 2020 now. Let's wake up.
Yeah, I mean, man, it isn't. I mean, don't get me wrong. The Nationals is still very prestigious, but DNC is probably considered the second prestigious race in the world, in the 8 scale world. The only race beating that is a Worlds, because it's one of the only races where we get to see competition from Europe come over. So Raw needs to get off that. They're not on that high pedestal anymore, and that's just being oblivious to your surroundings and not being. It's just old guard. Like, we're stuck in our ways, and we're gonna. Oh my gosh, I'm doing more talking than you.
No, I'm letting you go. It's your show.
I gotta hold on.
Your lights are turning off.
I know. I gotta go turn on my light. All right, so let's talk about something that I like to talk about. I heard this a lot. So if you look at numbers, 8 scale's king. It gets the most interest. Maybe not this year because it was kind of moved, but you look at LCRC, packed, full, sold out.
Yep.
Recently, these races, 10 scale, offered not maybe as much as it used to, but it still gets a good turnout.
Yeah, decent.
I think maybe 10 scale or 8 scale or Nitro maybe on road. Not sure.
I think carpet has more entries than pavement.
Okay.
Either nitro or electric. I think on road, I think carpet's king right now.
Right. Well, the general consensus is that the off-road guys are making the money with the least amount of representation.
I would agree.
In Raw. How do we fix that? You just need to get these off-road guys involved.
Yeah. Well, I've talked to a few of them now that I'm starting to race off-road more. like Jason Rona and that J Concept series, that I think that's awesome. Like what they're doing is they're promoting all these different tracks that they run their series through all over the country, and they're promoting it. Roar's not doing squat, but like that should be basic 101 how to run a series or how to promote a sport. Like getting people hopefully that have enough time to be involved from the off-road side is very important to me. Like what they're doing is working because that sport is growing. It's not shrinking like the on-road side is.
Right. The on-road is definitely shrinking. How do we fix that side of things? Because now that I've had Hefty on her, I'm looking at, look, well, right now, as we're talking about this, we got the 10 scale Nitro Worlds going on. I think there's one American guy there. It's in Thailand right now. I think Bryce Butterfield's the only American guy there.
I think we have to fix the roar. Like we've got to promote the sport. The roar has got to promote everything. And then once everything is run well and things are going well, I think that it'll start picking back up. Like, because it's actually entertaining to watch an on-road race where stuff is close. Like if you watch one of our stock carpet races and everybody's in a train and like you're down to the last couple minutes, everybody's still in the in contention. That's entertaining a lot. And a lot of the lower level off-road stuff, you'll have a couple guys run away and hopefully something happens because it's off-road kind of deal. But I think the close racing and on-road is a seller, but because people have more fun jumping, I think like I was always told that it was, I don't want to do on-road because it's the motor of the week and battery of the week and all this stuff. Like I've run the same motor at Nationals for 2 years now. Like it's still got all the Roar stickers on it from every time it's been sealed.
Well, yeah, people go extreme. People go extreme in that there. Okay, so well, let's carry on. How do we? Because I don't think there's a wrong way to, or one. I shouldn't say there's no one way that we should be promoting RC. I think I get this question quite a lot. Why isn't RC on Netflix or why isn't it on television? Well, it's pretty simple. What we do is not entertaining. It's entertaining to us. I am deeply entertained with it, but the way we race isn't appealing to spectators. We race. We don't. I'm talking from my side of things. When you see, we don't cater to spectators. We don't worry about spectators because the spectators in RC are RC drivers.
Right.
How do we take this to people? Because like. I believe what RCGP was doing. They made a whole docu-series like driven about their series that they put on, in 2019. I think
that's part of promotions though.
Right.
I think
that's what I mean. That's how do we promote this?
I think a crew, even with our crappy format, I think if you put something together, you can still take the entertaining parts of it. And so you use your qualifiers or your seeding and you make that the pre-show before your main events. And then you do your main events. I think you can still put it together, produce it in a way that's entertaining. But in the long run, we need to, like you said, get more entertaining. And even my on-road guys, we would like to do more racing than qualifying. And right now it's like you qualify for 3 days and then you have a couple races and you're done. You're like, so I'm qualifying forever and ever and ever. And
we need to do more racing. They've been over in Thailand for 10 days now.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
So, but I mean, besides that, I think we should probably look at, so I see things like we need to promote the racing side of RC. One of my friends said the bashing. This is what my buddy says. He says the hobby side of RC is doing great. The sports side, which is the racing side of RC, needs to get to the public. It needs to get to the world. I think the federations should be along with the manufacturers and the media and everybody and the professional drivers of this and tracks. But I think the federations should be the tip of the spear going into this because these are the federations. How do we, besides just doing some of our big races, should we be doing more racing in public areas, maybe doing a race alongside some full scale events, or even you see over in England, they did the They have the Milton Keys GP, which is a carpet off-road race that they do inside a mall. So it has spectators coming through, because as I travel around the world, because I traveled a lot this year, I think this is coming up on I got 2 trips left this year, and these will make it 10 trips this year that I've traveled, 3 of them to Europe. So as I travel and people, see, and I sit off and I'm talking to be like, what do you do? And I'm like, well, this is what I'm doing. And then I have to bring out my phone and show them, because people just don't know that we actually race these vehicles. They don't, when I say, yeah, we actually have professional drivers that paid to do this for a living. That's their job, to race these. And I, for one, make somewhat of a living off of talking about this right. In a way, you know what I mean? But we have these professional drivers. We don't use them in a professional manner. So we have tell them, you go to a race, you don't know who a pro driver is unless you're into RC, because everybody right. looks like a pro. We got everything, the makings to have something. It doesn't have to be Formula One. It doesn't have to be any of this, which has to be ours. But I think we have to think big. And I think the industry as a whole isn't thinking big enough. We're happy. Everybody has to do their part and get somebody into RC, but as an industry together, we need to come together and come up with some solutions to promote this industry in an easy format to people to understand and see what we do and show what we're doing. How can we do that besides that? I mean, you got it. Video, online streaming, all this stuff. That should be a no-brainer for all of this stuff. I'm glad that now, like, most of the Royal Nationals are live streamed, but it has to be entertaining as well, not just set up for racers. How do we fix that? Maybe some more. Maybe we need to bring in a public relations team to help out and figure out how we promote this to people. I don't know, but I think we should be looking at all options to do this and look at. There's no one way to do it. We have to all do it somehow.
I feel like we got to try things and figure out what's going to work instead of saying, "Oh, well, that's a dumb idea. That's a dumb idea." The best things in the world came from dumb ideas. So somebody thinking, "Oh, that'll never work," and then somebody tried it and they were like, "Wow, why did we not do this sooner? Like, we've talked about it for 10 years and we never even tried it."
Yeah, we got to have some balls and just go out there and do it.
Yep.
But we just can't do that with the ball and chain that's around our ankles, because so it's just a very difficult thing. And I think if we get some new blood and we get some forward momentum in these federations, I always say this: if we fix Raw, we then can start fixing IFMAR can be fixed, because Raw.
I think a lot of good people get fed up and they leave.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so the good people aren't the ones staying. You're stuck with the people who are using it because I'm part of the Roar Executive Committee. I'm very important. No, nobody even knows who that is. Like, nobody knows who you are. Like, that's even worse than being a good driver. A good driver, some people know who you are. If you're on the Roar Executive Committee, nobody knows who you are. Like, you could go to the race and they'd be like, "You're who?" Oh, so what is the Executive Committee? What is that doing?
Yeah, there definitely has to be some more transparency, I think, and people need to understand what's going on. They need to, I think you guys need to look at what AFRA's been doing. They actually got together with Control, which is who did they work with so it's Matt McCallum and James Pryor. They do the live stream for a lot of the Euro events along with Nick Damon, but they're like a media team, and they've been developing AFRA's new media thing that they've been doing for a couple of years that Javier started. So I think that's where Raw needs to look at investing some money into that too, in promotions. Like, get a media and team in there to help you with that, like social media and all that stuff. And because you can't do it all on your own.
With those guys' names you were just saying, Matt
McCallum and they're from Control, CTRL. So they have been involved with RC Racing TV. So
the RC TV.
Yeah, the guys who did the World Championships in Spain. So Matt does all the editing, all that stuff. They also works with AFRA. And I think you need to talk. I think when you do get into when the presidency is all set and settled, and if you get that position, you should definitely coordinate with those guys. I think they have a lot to offer and learn from, especially just, because they've been doing this whole, it's a whole program. If you go to AFRA's Facebook and check it out, you'll see what they've been doing. There's a lot of video. They just dropped a video now today saying RC is cool. After and you go on Afro, they have the minutes from the meeting posted from that they had the AGM that they had last weekend that I was reading through this morning. So there's a lot of, even though a lot of the Europeans complain about Afro, it's really in a lot better state than Raw is at this point. So there's lots of things you can do. I think you can get professionals in there to handle that promotion, just help with that promotional side of things. And because my thing is, I think RC racing's cool. I think we need to get more young people into it because I think it's a great father-son, mentor, father-daughter, mother-daughter, mentor, young person type of hobby/sport. I like to say hobby/sport at that point that these young kids can get into, but we have to keep them here, and we have so much competition. Like, you know what I mean? When I was younger, it was like I wanted an RC car because it was cool and it was fun. I didn't have Nintendos and all that stuff when I was young. So we have that
games on your phone when you were young.
Yeah, I mean, we have some. Look at esports. Like if we could get 1% of the people that play esports into RC racing, like our hobby would boom. Our sport would boom. So and people have to be realistic about the size of our sport. Like, as what in racing we feel that it's so big, but it's really a niche thing, and it's filled with other niches within it.
Right.
So I just think, I was actually talking to a manufacturer about that. Like, he's like, yeah, we need to bring a PR team in and do this and reach out to the kids and families and stuff like that. So that's something I like to see Raw take some look at doing it. You know what I mean? Just, it adds a little bit of professionalism to it. And, people can see, because people that are going to say, why do I need to vote for Raw? I need to do this. This is going to say the same old thing they would say. Raw doesn't do anything but me. They just give me insurance, or this doesn't work, or something like that. But it should be something that people should be proud to be a part of. Like, You know what I mean? And, the federation should be leading the charge with growing this industry, growing this sport, and being proactive and doing things differently and keeping up with the times. Like, you got to leave the past in the past. We have to go forward,
That was one of the frustrating things when I came on the committee, was all these old grievances. Sorry, my cat's running behind me.
I see you got two of them.
Yeah. Like, they have all this bad blood with all these different people, but they're all key players in the industry. And if you continue to say, oh, well, 15 years ago, this happened. Yeah, that was 15 years ago. People have had children that have gone to college by now. Come on.
Yeah, they got to get over it. The old guys got to go, man.
Yep.
And who would you, if you was to, so how many positions are now vacant there in total?
There's two right now, promotion director and sanctioning director.
All right, but there's lots of regional reps that need to be filled, right?
They're totally vacant, yep.
What would a regional, so a lot of people like to say this too, and I'm one of them too, and I know it all comes down to competing with other races. Okay, maybe regional races to qualify. Okay, say we don't ever go to a series. Regional races to qualify for nationals. Is that something that Raw can enforce?
So sure, Raw could do whatever they want, technically. But right now, there's only a few regions that even hold any kind of regionals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's 12 regions, and maybe 3 hold a regional of any kind during the year.
Maybe they have to work with existing race in that region.
Yeah, so they could do that. Like, I figure like we need to be able to run races. So we got to crawl before we run.
Okay.
And, the first thing would be able to do the large events well. And
what would you need from the RMT then? What are you looking for more from the RMT, and how many people would that take?
I don't know that it takes a lot more people. It just takes the right people.
Okay.
So you got to have your race director who's paying attention to everything going on. Mm-hmm. And right now, when a track hosts, they're responsible to give 2 people to Roar, and then Roar brings in the team of the rest to do whatever. In the future, I could see it where, like you're saying, they kind of come in, call the balls and strikes, and the track makes more of the money than the little pittance that they get now.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we waste more money running a race than we take in on probably 4 of the 6 nationals. So between paying for people to fly around the country, shipping stuff here or there. From what I recall, we were losing money on 4 of the 6 nationals every year.
Well, that would be too because of low entries too. Like the e-buggy nats, like it's unfortunately it's just still not catching on. Like, you know,
it could be, but I think a lot of it too is like just not proper planning. Like we would wait until 2-3 weeks before the race to then work a plane ticket out. But if you did it 2 or 3 months before a race, you save $1,000 on 5 people's tickets.
So they just need revamping everywhere. Like they need someone to just take charge and just be like, all right, we know that this race is going to be this 6 months from now. We're sending this person, this person, this person. Buy a ticket now.
Yes. Yep. And I have somebody who is interested in running the race, who has run money big races and would like. That's already his mindset. I'll have, my 5-6 people that are on RMT. We'll send however many we need, between 2 to or 3 to 5 for whatever.
Yeah, but they have to be able to come in there and just make all those decisions. Like they have to run the race and then work with the track crew takes care of the track.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we've kind of got stuff in place, or I've got tentative agreements in place to square away the RMT from day one.
Okay. And so we have not yet had it's now November 11th when we're recording this. We have not had a date or track set for the 8 scale nationals next year, which would make that it's actually a world's qualifying year as well. It's probably going to be well attended. I'm hearing it might be LCRC again, which had it in 2021. I like LCRC, don't get me wrong. But Afro's going through this too. We're seeing tracks not bidding on races. I mean, I swear that the reason that it was at Adobe this year and it was in March, well, it had to be in March because it couldn't be in June, was because no other tracks bid for this. And I heard that.
I wasn't part of the committee at that point.
Right.
But even when I was competition director and taking in the bids, there was very rarely more than 2 tracks that bid for any race, but they get $1,500 to host. So they provide, like LCRC, they groom the whole track. So that whole staff, and they're supposed to provide a couple bodies to help roar in tech, and maybe off tech cars, make sure things are passed over or whatever. So they make $1,500. And they not only have to pay all their people that are working there, but they have to pay a couple people that are working for Roar. So if they were making more of the money and Roar was sending less of the people, then it would be more feasible for the tracks to want to host the nationals. Because sure, we'll make it prestigious again. We'll get our head out of our butt. We'll make these events fun. We'll make people want to come and not, if something goes wrong, sure. Okay. It went wrong. And we checked tanks in this pressurized manner that these guys suggested. We checked them in the way that Europeans checked them. Like we checked them 5 to 6 different ways. And this is the results of those testing. And this is what we're going to do. So like, if you do what the people expect, even if there's a problem, they'll forgive you. But if you don't address the problem or wait till a week before the race and say, oh yeah, we're going to let you sand your tires. Well, why didn't I know that a month before the race? I'm still thinking that I've asked for 5-6 weeks and you haven't given me an answer. Like, have the balls to make a decision, whether it's the right or wrong one, just make a decision. And then if it's the wrong one, you learn from that and you choose something else next time or do something different next time. But make a decision. Don't wait until the last second or hope that somebody makes a decision for you.
Yeah, that's exactly what Javier said in his introduction in the meetings when he stepped on. He said, either support or not, but make a decision. And it's no decision is the worst thing ever.
Yes.
So, but back to the tracks. I think people don't. Yeah, I know. But yeah, they got $1,500. I think I was reading the rules. I think LCRC's figured out a way how to make money off it because but the track has to sell the track has to do all the work.
Yeah, so they make $1,500 for the first 125 entries, I think, and then they get an additional $1,000 if they get over a certain amount. And then after a certain amount, they get a per entry thing. So LCRC is smart enough to know that they'll sell out. So they, at least when I did it, they negotiated the cap to make sure that it was 350, and Roar didn't short them saying, oh, no, we're going to make it 300. No. If we're going to accept the nationals, the limit's going to be 350 or whatever they felt that they could push through in a day of qualifying. And their announcer called the race, and they did their whole track grooming. I was out there helping them with mud, and Krista was bringing the tractor over, and we were all trying to fill in. We were all trying to rake and fill and get all muddy, and like they had, I don't know, probably 5, 6, maybe 10 people. They're just fixing everything on the track after that rain came and washed everything away.
Yeah, but they also so the tracks also have to make their money off like renting out spots.
He has the camper spots,
sponsors. They basically, and how I can see it is that the track has to do everything, right? Raw shows up, fucks everything. I don't want to say that. Raw shows up, does what it has to do, and then like they just go away like after that. And I feel like that's an extensive amount of work to not really be guaranteed to make the money. Because I can't see how Tim Lime, like, because he didn't get that many entries, so I know he didn't hit the, like Tim Lime where they had the nationals this past year.
March. Yeah,
Adobe. Because I think he did that just out of passion, because he wanted to do it. Because I can't see if he made money on it, because he probably made money where he made some money off the rental stuff, but it's so much stuff that you have to do. And I just feel like the input that Raw has to do with that should be a little bit more. Like, you're making this amount of money. I think you're making money off this with entries and that, whatnot, like that. But if tracks aren't bidding on your race, if you're struggling to get tracks to bid on your races, then you have to look at something and fix that, because without the tracks, you can't have a race, you know? And unless you're going to go build one and do it indoors, which I don't see that happening, you know? I don't see that ever happening. So, all right, I have a few more notes here. We've been talking a lot about this type of stuff. We talked about promoting everything, and let's talk a little bit about Afra making this change here this past weekend. And one more thing I want to talk about is like youth programs. If you have any ideas, well, let's talk about youth programs first. Any thoughts on maybe establishing, like I was talking today when I was recording for my podcast with Max, somebody asked about youth and how we can progress them. And I still believe that they have to earn it. They have to beat these old guys that are still winning. And when I say old guys, like an Osprey, like the Cavaliers and the Mayfields and these guys are still winning. But what I'd like to see is maybe some junior championships that actually aren't just that are valid. Like, you know, like, hey, I'm an under 16 national champion of this person. Like, I think we need to figure out how to get the federations making these, even in the racing, like we need to have more youth stuff. Like we have it's over 40 class, you know, but we need to have these youth classes like
nowadays. But
like any other sport, they have like, oh, what are the junior champions or whatever. We have that, but it's not, in my opinion, it's not made a big deal. Like, or maybe we need to have just a youth championship or junior championships, or what they do in Europe, they have a Euro B, which is where like all the guys who are like pretty well sponsored and, you know, really good guy, really fast in their regions, they will go to the Euro A, which is the main one. And then they have a Euro B, which is guys who are still fast, maybe younger, coming up where they can go make a name for themselves in that type of class. Maybe we need to go to that type of nationals as well. I like to see that be more about youth though, because I think if you look at motocross and some of these other sports, it's separated by age groups and stuff like that. And we just don't have that type of structure in RC at all, it seems. We have a junior final and that's it.
Yeah, so like the junior final is kind of like an afterthought. Like we get there and then we tell them, hey, if you want to run the junior class, you have to be under this age. And we're going to take the top 15 qualifiers of the age, which I was like, why are we taking the top 15? They're already going to be C, B main drivers. Why aren't we taking the bottom 15? So we can get the more novice people to have a chance to, do something and grow.
Yeah, we need to get more young people into this, man. More young people in this. I hope, as your father, so I don't know, does your daughter race?
She did for a while.
Okay.
And then she became a teenager and not so much anymore.
I definitely need to get some more youth in. All right, so I'm going to read you what Javier said. I'll just breeze through it so you can get a little gist of what he said. He goes, yes, this year you have a big and important responsibility in the future of AFRA and the future of RC community with the election of a new AFRA president that you're going to choose, not just a person. You're going to choose which direction you want to take. I don't know if all of you realize your responsibility in the day-to-day working of AFRA. I guess you're not aware because I have to say some of the frustration to leave AFRA comes because of the lack of answers, proposals, feedback, and work for national federations and associated member side. Because of all of you, the keys of the AFRA, because all of you have the keys of AFRA to accept and refuse any project, development plan rules, and the power to use these keys. The power to use these keys have been used during the year, not just in a couple of yes or not. Basically what it's saying, and the power of these keys need to be used not just during the year just to say yes or no. He goes, or votes on the AGM. You have to be proactive. You have to support or not support the AFRA board. You have to answer mails, accept drivers in the system, promote European championships in your countries, get feedback off AFRA projects, and a lot more. I hope you choose the right option for AFRA's future and for your own future as well. But nothing will be valid if after the election of the new AFRA president, you go home and keep the same as now. My advice is be proactive and work for the RC community, because he actually did start like a development plan and all this type of stuff to get more youth in it and all this type of stuff. I think you should have a read of the minutes, sir. If you go to their Facebook page when you got some time. I didn't have much time.
Yeah, I wrote a note down so I can go back and check it out.
So he basically says everything that you said. And I actually think that AFRA is a fully way better shape than Raw is. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So his frustration at this was he's done this for 4 years, man. He just hit too many roadblocks. And it all came from the old guard of these federations, man, that just don't. You look through you can look through the minutes and see like how it works, man. And yeah, man, you're not alone. Like it's happening at these other places. And I think, Javier came in there with these great expectations and he done some good things, but he also had to be political. You don't seem like you're very political, which I like.
I'm very agnostic.
Yeah.
Like, I want to get things done. I don't care where you're coming from or
what your take somebody like that
is or what your gender identity is. You can be whatever you want. It doesn't matter to me. We got to get the job done.
Exactly.
That's the important thing.
Exactly. And I think it's going to take somebody like that to do that. Yeah. With that type of attitude. Then you're going to have to break. JQ tells me all the time.
You're going to get hurt.
He goes, you got to break some eggs to make an omelet, Lefty. Yeah. I say, you just break the whole carton of eggs. And, but that's what's going to have to happen. And it's going to have to, like, I like your attitude already, man. If I was a Raw member, I'd vote for you. So tell people, so the Raw membership voting is up on the 30th of November. If you get elected, when do you start your tenure?
January 1.
Okay. So I like what you're saying. I am all about change, and I want to be around people that want change and push for change and progress our sport. So talking to you, you seem to understand the real what it's going to take to do this. Like, that you have to get rid of some people, you have to do this, or they have to step up the game, or they have to let somebody else come in.
Yeah, I am totally fine with you. Whatever you didn't do in the past, that's in the past. From here on out, we got to get some stuff done. We're not here to talk. Like, if I have access to my archives, I will to the archives of Roar when I become president. I will get the recording where I just went off and I'll just play my part, and you may have to beep quite a few words, but I think people can hear the frustration from my rant at the committee, because like it was just coming to a boil We talk. We talk about all these things we need to do. We need to find some way to make sure blinky speedos are blinky, or spec motors stay spec, and all this stuff. And we have all these great ideas, and nobody does anything. I'm like, this is just BS.
Why though? I don't understand why.
I don't, because nobody holds anybody accountable. That's really what it comes down to. There were people, even Brent Klingforth was one of them, that said, I'll do research on this device or whatever. And he either got busy or whatever, but it didn't happen. But then we didn't hold anybody accountable. So even if you forgot to do it last month, if you're not told, hey, where is this result? I need this. And why does it got to take a month? We have email. This is the freaking 2020s. We can talk about stuff.
So Jeff Parker's the only paid member of Roar, correct?
No, he is not paid.
Okay.
Bob Ingersoll is the only paid person of Roar. He's the administrator.
Okay. Wouldn't it make more sense to take that money and disperse that out throughout the committee, so at least that people are putting in their time can feel like they get something back? Or is that not? I think.
So in the bylaws, I have to check how it's worded, but it seems like only one person is allowed to be paid with the bylaws. Now, I would like to change bylaws because I don't feel like it's smart to have EA and Joaquin from Serpent not be able to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the point of having two people on there that can't vote?
They're just advisors.
Yeah. Okay, great. They're advising, but you don't listen to squad anyways. So why not have them vote? There's a lot of things I feel need to change.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, changing bylaws will be as easy, but there's things that I know we can change quickly.
Okay.
Like at least posting the updated rules. I want to give the manufacturers, because I don't think they ever got sent the updated rule book, a chance to look through it. So I would guess maybe in the middle of February or something might be the first time rules are updated or reposted. But if there's something that happens at a race, you just change it in the rule book when you come home from the race and say, hey, this was changed on this date at the very beginning of the rule book. So that way that it's changed, but the rule book stays current. We're no longer going to say you have to run treaded tires and off-road. Okay, cool. Take the rule out. Say, hey, on this date, this was changed. We don't need to wait for a year or a committee meeting or whatever to majority rules, put it in, or we don't do it. It's very simple stuff that we waste way too much time talking about.
I agree, man. Clayton, I enjoyed our chat. I'm sure we'll have many more. I know you're a busy man.
That's our
yeah. I'm going to be busy here shortly. Very busy. But I like your attitude. I think you're the guy that's gonna the attitude that you have is the person to get it done, because you know how it is to be frustrated by meeting all the opposition that you met previously. So, and I know that you have to get people in there that's going to support you and help you do things. So,
I want them to support the sport. I may have a stupid idea. I don't want them to just go, oh yeah, Clayton knows what he's talking about. No,
it can't be blind support. It has to be. You have to have people in there that can. Oh, come on, let's think about this.
Yeah,
but it's better than being stonewalled at everything you do.
Yep.
And that's not going to grow anything. And these federations all need to. Now we can remember the past, and we can always look back and say, hey, that was the good times, a great heritage. But we need to go forward. And RC, in my opinion, as an industry, is at least 15 years behind the rest of the world, I think, in certain things. And we need to get back up. We need to get up to speed with a lot of things. And we need to be all ambassadors for RC, and the manufacturers, along with you guys and the federations, need to be kind of leading that charge. And I hope I like that you got just hearing that story about getting the different races to get together and manufacturers agree was good to see as well, because I think the manufacturers want to see something new happen too.
Right. So, well, if we grow the sport, which then grows their base.
Yeah, of course.
But when we're Roar and we say, you're manufacturers, you're making money, we're not, so you guys figure it out. That doesn't help anybody.
No.
What is that freaking mindset for?
Don't you realize that if everything gets bigger, everybody makes some money? You know what I mean? That's how it works. The bigger the pie, the more people eat. It's simple as
I've
that.
heard that one before. That's pretty good.
So I just made that one up, by the way.
Coin that one. That's Lefty's call.
But thank you for having you on. When will we know the results?
So voting was supposed to start on the 1st. It started on the 4th or 5th because of technical issues with the webmaster or website or whatever. So we should know the results the end of December or the beginning of December. I would say December 1, but my guess is more like December 15th, maybe.
How about your opposition? What do we know about Larry David? I know he's a great comedian.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, no, it's a comedian named Larry David.
Oh, okay. So he was vice president when I came on the committee, but he never attended any meetings. So I know little to nothing about him.
Oh, so okay, all right, yeah, all right. He's only attended no meetings, and he's only been to 2 races since 2015.
He might have attended them before I became a committee member, but it was about. I think it was about a year before they replaced him with a vice president.
I mean, has he done any type of promotion to do this?
Not that I've seen. So anybody can nominate somebody.
Okay.
And I know Jeff Parker was rallying people to run against me, so there would be at least an election. So,
he's trying to get a puppet president. I got it.
I'm not going to say any of that because I don't know facts. I wasn't there for his conversation.
I'll say it.
I just know he had even tried. He told EA, "You're going to let that person, not person, but
so you and Jeff Parker really don't like each other. Okay, I get that.
We're frenemies. Like socially, we can be okay, but right. I don't like. Like we had an incident at the last Nats where I got wrecked from behind. The announcer's like, "You got to wait and let him by." The guy waited ish, and I was in a train of cars, and he didn't want the train of cars to go by, so he jumped in front of the train. And I was like, "Jeff, it's a rule. Like he didn't follow the race announcer's rule." Well, I don't know. What did the race director or the race announcer say? So he went to race announcer. He's like, "I called him. And he got wrecked, but then he had a little of a tuck, and so wasn't sure." He's like, "Well, did he wait?" He's like, "He waited ish, but he didn't wait for him to get back by." Like, okay, there's your answer. He didn't wait for him to get back by. He didn't follow the rules. Rule is he loses a lap from his best run. Period. That's just a black and white rule. Well, but you're running for president, and now it's going to look like I'm biased. I'm like, it's a black and white rule. He didn't do what he said, so he would have had to wait maybe a 0.5 of a second longer for me to get by. He didn't want to. So,
that's a problem, though. That's a problem that needs to be addressed on a club level in RC, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and
it's rampant everywhere.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it don't happen in Europe, but it's definitely some rough driving. But man, I tell you, they are stickler for referees, man. They like it. I think they're worth it.
You can use the F1 rule. Like if your front tire isn't in front of their rear tire going into the corner, not like you beelined it to put it there, but like as that guy's entering the corner, if your front tire is not in front of them, then you don't have a right to the corner. If you don't let them back by, you're going to get penalized. Like we can make some simple rules, but we should be racing each other clean. I mean, we're not inside the cars. So we're not going to be as exact as if we were inside the cars, but there's some stuff like you just don't send it full send up somebody's backside into a corner, like from behind. You kind of got to work your way alongside.
Sweet. Cool. Well, I would say this, if you guys are on the fence, if you listen to this and you're like, what is Raw going to do for me? Well, I would say go sign up for Raw and vote for this guy because he sounds like he wants to do some actual things and he's not going to take any shit. And that's what I like to see and what I like to hear because that's the type of person it's going to take to fix Raw. And it's going to be very hard. It's not going to be easy because it's about winning the trust of the people because that's where your money comes from. It's about just establishing. Yeah, you're just going to have to get it done.
Yeah.
And that's all it comes down to.
You know, if you're not a Roar member now, don't become a Roar member to vote. Wait till we earn your trust, and then you'll want to become a Roar member.
But that's not how you're supposed to. That's not how we promote you.
I know. So don't be hating. Vote for Clayton. That's Jeff Rowland saying.
I like that one. Don't be hating. Vote for Clayton. Clayton, it's great to get to know you. I wish you all the best. I really hope you become Raw president. Because we need it. Like, we need Raw. Like, I think we need it. We need a functioning federation that's being proactive and doing things that are positive in the racing community. Because, as I said, my buddy says, the hobby of RC, the bashing side, the crawling side, that side is doing great. The sport of RC could use some breath of fresh air. Enema. I was gonna say breath of fresh air. Combined with an enema. So I like you already. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate it. And I wish you all the best, because we need to fix this. We do.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on the show, and I look forward to coming on as president.
Yeah, that'll be fun when you win. You can come on her. Cool, dude. But you have a good evening, and thank you for your time.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you to TZO and the super cutoff.
I just love that it just cuts off. Like, I know,
Nick, we gotta get that worked out, Nick. But thank you to TZO Tires. Hopefully they come on as a sponsor next year as well. But this week they're bringing you your silly season news. That wow! So I went to take a nap this afternoon, Max, because I was really tired because it's been a long weekend. I've had a guest here. I got new glasses too, by the way. Did you see that? I got new glasses. I have to wear them all the time now. So. I'm getting old. I wake up this morning and I got messages from people all on Facebook talking about, where is this person again? Where's Robert Batlle again? This again? I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, I know that he's leaving Mugen, but I didn't know he had announced it today. So it's official, everybody. Mugen Seiki and Robert Batlle have split ways. And here's a letter from Mugen. He wrote in a letter for him. It's been a very good 12 years, the best of my career so far. We've achieved many goals, had lots of fun, and you've helped me become who I am. I have so many memories from all this time. It's been hard to sum them all up in one post. I can only thank you for all the help received. You always have a place in my heart. It's time to take different paths. Wish you guys the best in the future. It's been a pleasure being a part of the #Mugen family. I'd like to thank Stefan Habak and John Weaves Fuerte for giving me the opportunity in 2011. See you at the circuits. So thus ends a 12-year stint at Mugen for Robert Batlle. You had some of. Let's go through some of the accolades that Robert has garnered while he has been under the Mugen tenure. So you wrote down some. He did. So he won a Euros in 2011 with that. Mm-hmm. 2012 Worlds win, obviously, in Argentina.
Yeah, Argentina.
I don't know about 2014, 2015. You don't really have question marks there. 2016 Worlds second.
Yeah. Vice
2017. Champion. Yeah, vice. Yeah, I mean, 2017 win. 2018 DNC second. He won Neo Buggy at the last Neo Buggy then.
Yeah, that was at Redovan. Yeah.
Right. Worlds, he got 6, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. Kind of.
Yeah. I don't know what results. I think he had a pretty much a decent win every year, pretty much. I don't know if he had a big win this year. I can't remember one, but pretty much every year on his run Mugen, he had at least one big win. Obviously, the 2 European Championship, the World Championship, second place, 2016. Even with, like, he had a big issue before the race with, I believe he had some kidney stones.
Yep, I remember
operation that. And all that, and still ended up finishing second after the week. And yeah, I think he won the Spanish championships every year except for this one, I believe.
Yeah.
So he definitely...
Time for a change, you think?
I think so. I think he was looking on the downhill for a while.
Yes, I would say beginning of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I'd say since like the 2017, 2018, 2019, since then he's been like slightly dropping off, He still has good results and he's still like in the fight most of the time. But when it was like, I'd say from like 2011 to 2017, like anytime he raced, he was in the top three. Pretty much like anytime you could pick him to win almost any race. He didn't always win, but he was always in a fight. And especially his skill in long mains. Like he could have a terrible start and then just fucking catch up everyone, take the lead and win it. That's one quality that I think people know him about, and that's definitely something he's made clear, especially through those Mugen years. And,
well, it's not even that. He did pretty well at the Worlds. I mean, he just missed making the main of a flame out on pit lane.
Yeah, I think it was a bit unfortunate. I think he pretty much was going to go in the main. That unfortunate flame out made that not happen, but he's been strong this year, don't get me wrong. But I think, for the past few years, he hasn't anymore been sort of the guy that's like, because right now it's all about Canas, Ongaro, and Ronafalk. Before it was like Batlle, Ronafalk. At some point it was Ongaro there in the mix too, but like Boots, Batlle, Ronafalk, those were the guys at one point. And Savoya was sort of before Robert's Mugen era. It was like Robert and Savoya who fought for the European Championship wins, but yeah, Robert's been like, the craziest thing is he's been one of the fastest guys, like at least top 3 European driver since like 2004 until pretty much like the past 2 years. So he's had a great career so far, and I think it's good also that when you sort of get into a bit of a downhill, then you have to sort of change something too, because like right now. Kidditch brothers are really, really well with the Mugen. He sort of was
getting shuffled to the back. He's getting shuffled to the back in the Mugen. Yeah. I think
it was time to change for sure.
Right. So I kind of felt that he was out of Mugen early this year because I heard, obviously that Mugen did not pay for him to go to DNC, so he had to get money for that in another area. And when you start doing things like that, you kind of know that that's the writing's on the wall there. Maybe this year was, so it's unfortunate, but where one door opens, another one, where one door closes, another one opens. I mean, 12 years is a long time. We don't see people doing 12-year stints no more with companies. And being successful as he is.
Phend is probably the only one who's gone for like forever. But.
And like Craig and those guys. So Robert's a little older, 35. You can see, I talked to him and I was like, well, how many worlds do you think you have? And he says, I have this one plus 2 more. So he's thinking 40, I would say, is his final where he, I think Robert can still be competitive, but I think I've said this before. I think we're going to see Robert transition it. He's also been one of the guys who's always tried to do a business of some sort in RC. So it's very business orientated. Very similar to Tebow. Tebow's similar as well.
Yeah.
So with that said, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, so this also opens up and, obviously everybody's saying Mayako. I cannot say, confirm at this point if it's Mayako or not. I cannot confirm that. But I mean,
it is actually,
his brother's running the car.
I'm going to expose
his brother's running the car. It's
gonna.
Okay, so Max muted himself. In case you guys want to know, he muted himself and said it. But I mean, I'm good with Robert. I mean, look at him. He's really involved with the invisible speed stuff. We're going on tour in a week's time. I'm sure everything will be revealed.
Wouldn't that be a curveball if it isn't Mayako? Everyone's expecting it to be Mayako. Maybe he joins like. imagine like him traveling around South America, and then it's techno, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
that would be like, people would be like so weirded out by that.
But it's like I woke up this morning and silly season had started, so it's kind of started. And then of course the big rumors coming out of AMS this weekend is Tebow's out at techno. And everybody's asking if it's Mayako on that side of things. I don't know. I asked him, he's like, no, I have options. So he's looking at other things. And then, of course, the big rumor, which is getting closer and closer to looking like it's going to be true, is that Maifield's out at Mugen and going to techno. But that has not been confirmed yet. But I've heard it from many sources.
If Maifield
this is almost
has
like
his contract ending, Mugen is downsizing, and Techno is out a top driver. Like, it's just like, come on, guys.
It's
just
almost as obvious as people thinking that Robert's going to Mayako.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's almost more obvious.
But besides all of that, okay, I still can't contemplate where Tebow's going. We kind of feel that Maifield, I mean, it could be all smoke and mirrors at the end of the day. But
if maybe Maifield goes to AE, who knows?
Right, maybe he goes to AE because I think they need somebody over there on the 8-scale side for him.
Yeah, for sure.
Who goes Mugen? Who goes to Mugen?
I don't think anyone. I don't think
anybody either. I think they go with nobody.
At best, they go with like
Seth
Van Dalen, but it's not gonna be like a pro deal. It's gonna be
he'll get paid.
Travels.
He'll get paid, but it's not like they're not gonna pay him. Yeah, because he'll get paid money.
I think they'll pay him like a little bit, but not like a proper salary, you know.
Well, let's be honest. That's one of the reasons why Maifield's leaving is because he wasn't getting a salary that he wanted from Mugen. Yeah. But I think a lot of people say, well, how is Mugen going to do without a top driver? And I'm just saying, I don't know if they're getting Seth or anything, but I just think that that's a good fit for some reason.
Yeah, I think the Kilich brothers are good enough in Europe, so they don't have to worry about.
Well, I heard they might become in DNC too.
Yes, and also like the Kilich brothers are gonna be fast at DNC most likely. And Drake is still there. You know, I don't see Drake leaving Mugen. So, like, if Kilich brothers win in Europe, Drake's there. I bet they try. At least Drake probably would like to get someone on the team who, you know, is good enough to at least make mains and finish sometimes in the top 5. Someone like Seth Van Dalen, Tyler Jones.
I can definitely see one of those guys go into that team in that capacity. Mm-hmm. Maybe they have a full-time job, but they get to travel to races and stuff like that.
Kind of. I think Tanner Denny going back to Mugen could be possible, but I doubt it. I think he's staying S-Works. I think
I think they all have a contract.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that I have not heard anything else. I'm just kind of.
Yeah, but I think Tebow out of Tech now is pretty much almost done.
Yeah, I'm pretty much sure of that. And I'm pretty much sure that Maifield's out. Like, this is all hearsay. Everybody, don't go saying that. It's the truth, but it's pretty strong. Like, if I was to be a betting man, I'd be betting right now.
Yeah.
I think that's it, Max.
I mean, I think these two things we talked about, those are like Robert going.
Once again, Max mutes his mic when he says the name or he thinks it's going.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to watch this and read his lips.
Yeah. And then Tebow going to wherever he ends up going, but out of Techno, and Maifield moving to Techno.
Well, so what's next for Tech? What's next for Tebow? Can he talking to him? He still thinks he feels that he can win. You know.
So here's what I think his options are.
Okay.
I think the most likely options are Kyosho, Mayako, perhaps HB, but not HB and S-Works has such a big team. It would be a bit weird if he goes there. So I could see him go to AE actually.
Really?
TLR.
Somebody said that to me today. Tebow to AE.
Yeah, I don't think Tebow he could go to
Not that they said he's going there, but it could be a place that he goes.
I think it's gonna be one of these following teams. It's gonna be either Kyosho, Mayako, AE, Mugen. I don't know. I don't think Mugen. I think HB and S-Works has such a big team. Unless if Cole leaves or whatever,
I don't see
then I don't see Cole leaving. So I think S-Works and HB are too full. So basically it's those three I mentioned, and
maybe WRC signed somebody in America this year.
I was gonna say WRC, but I don't know if Tebow wants to do that. I think WRC are eager to sign a top driver because they don't have one, and I think they pay him pretty well. So I think for Tebow's sake, in terms of having a comfortable job, WRC is going to be the most likely option. With those other brands like Kyosho, Mayako, and AE, I think he's gonna have to sort of downsize a bit from the salary he's most likely getting from Tecno.
Do you see him transitioning into that more? Because he's also a person that sells. I think that's where he's gonna go. Be selling a lot more. JTP
100%. All
that type of stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised for him to go like almost privateer too. Like run his own race program. Like I think he's obviously gonna get like travel and some sort of budget
and a salary
too. Yeah, but from all those brands I mentioned, but it's not like he's on now. Like basically now he's like he gets a monthly salary and races. That's what I believe. I don't have any facts here, but that's what I believe. And I think the options he has now aren't gonna be as good. But my thing is that I believe if he makes a good choice with the brand he chooses and has a good car, I see Tebow making a true comeback. I see him being like
he's not ready to give up. When I talk to him, it's like I still can go. I can still beat these guys.
Yeah, the thing is like I can see him get into that top 3 conversation, but like straight up challenging Mason, Phend, and Maifield, who are the overall and throughout the year the top 3 I'd say from America. And Tebow is like fourth or fifth best in America. I put him at 4th best in America. So I think he can sort of, but there's a bigger gap between,
Yeah, I would say so. I agree with you.
But I think he could climb that gap back and get into that, top 3 conversation next year if he gets onto a good car. And I really believe, if he has the car that is good and he can make it good for himself, then I believe like he could actually be a contender for the national championship next year and stuff like that.
Okay.
That's my sort of guess, because I don't know how to put it, but it is refreshing to switch to a new brand. And the thing is, if he switches to WRC, he's gonna have a tough year next year because it's a new car. He doesn't really have any support in terms of like, if it was, like with Tecno, he has like 4 guys who are almost at his level. But with WRC, he has to do pretty much everything himself. Like obviously, that's a good like team managers, and he has support from that side. But still, he has to sort of have a foundation for his own race program. And if he gets onto a team where he has that same support and foundation he's had at Tecno, but has that new sort of fresh attitude going forwards. Yeah, I think he'll be good.
Okay. All right. I think he'll be all right too. I think he's still determined to win and do well, but I also think you're going to see him transitioning more into do social media, a lot more YouTube, all that type of stuff. So, and selling stuff. Maifield to Techno, it's going to be interesting to see, but I understand why Techno's probably feeling the same way we feel. Like if we're going to go anywhere and we're going to take anybody that's going to win a race, it's going to be Maifield. Probably too hard to get somebody like Phend, but Maifield is.
Yeah, and I wouldn't, like, if I was Techno, I wouldn't even really try to get Phend because he's like so married to TLR. He's been there forever. It would, like, I think even for brand image, getting Phend is not as good as getting Maifield, because Maifield is like, yes, he's branded as a Mugen driver, but Mugen isn't that big of a thing on its own. It's sort of like we always talk about Maifield, but when we talk about Phend, we talk about TLR all the time. So I think he has much bigger connection on that front. Whereas Maifield changing the Techno feels like natural. Like, yeah, Maifield on Techno. It doesn't feel that silly of an idea.
All right, cool. So we got a noisy bike out there. We're going to close it up. Let's take some picks for 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive at Florida Copper Champs next weekend. So you can comment.
I'm going to go for Michael in 4-wheel drive. And it's going to be Phend, Michael, or... Yeah, it's going to be Phend on Michael in 2-wheel drive too.
Really? So. No Maifield? No, not putting Maifield in there?
No. I just can't see Maifield, like on carpet especially. It's like, yeah, it's going to be tough. And I think the Yokomo 2-wheel drive is it's struggling a bit for sure. The 4-wheel drive on the Yokomo, especially on low grip, is really good. So that, I mean, it already shows like Lee Martin and the European guys. It's pretty much that deal. Yeah, I'd say I'm gonna go for Orlowski, Phend. I don't know if Jona is going, but I think Jona is going. So if Jona is going, then I'm gonna go Phend. Rivkin instead too. Phend. Phend, Orlowski, and Brock. Phend, Orlowski, Brock in 4-wheel drive.
Forgot about Brock.
Yeah. 4-wheel drive is gonna be Orlowski, Phend. I'm gonna go for Jona Hatan if he goes. I haven't talked to him, but I think he said he's going to America, so I imagine it would be this race. So if Jona is going, it's gonna be him in 3rd. But if Jona isn't going, then it's gonna be Brock in 3rd.
I forgot about Brock. It's gonna be good. I can't
Phend, Orlowski, Brock in 2-wheel drive. Orlowski, Phend, Brock in 4-wheel drive. That's my picks.
I'm taking Phend and Orlowski, and Brock will be the spoiler out of those two.
Yeah,
I think. All right. Well, Max, we're probably not going to chat for a while. I'm going to be tomorrow starts like a month on the road for me. So
you're going to have like a Western world tour, kind of like America tour, you could call it maybe.
Yeah, the Americas. I'm looking forward to it. Follow all of that, guys, on our Instagram and our Invisible Speed. Robert, everybody, we're gonna be crazy with the social media. Max, I think that's it for this weekend. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Mr. Clayton Young, for your time. Thank you guys for all the support once again here in 2022. Thank you to the NNRC squad around the world. We can't do it without you guys. Thank you to the patrons of the NNRC as well as the YouTube members. You guys get early release and help us out a lot. Thank you to the awesome companies that support us. If you want to be a part of the NNRC next year, hit me up and I'll send you out our one paper for our tiers. It's very nice. Thank you to he who knows who done it. I'm not going to say his name because he doesn't want any credit for it, but he did a really good job. And thank you to the current companies that support and sponsor the podcast. They are InvisibleSpeed.net, TZO 200 Tires, TNR Fuels, High Tech RC, Mayako, Techno RC, Lugs Racing Tires, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, G-Spec RC Tuning, Sun Pedal USA, Clinic RC, Racecraft USA, RCGP, House of RC, David Ronafalk. Shout out to our drivers, David Ronafalk, Jared Tebow, Alexander Hagberg, and Robert Batlle. And don't forget, if you want Shwag, NNRC Shwag in America. Check out Ardent Imprints on Instagram. Hit up Jason Bacall, Facebook. And if you want it in Europe now, hit up RC Haus and we can get you some NNRC Shwag. Max, you enjoy the rest. You're pretty busy. You got some school exams and all that. They're coming up.
Yeah.
And then it'll be Christmas. And then we'll be back for 2023. So with that said, say goodbye. We probably ain't going to see you closer to Christmas time, to be honest.
Yeah, it's probably going to be like the Christmas special we do. That's the next time because I think I'm quite confident saying I'll be going to India on the 16th or 14th. I'm leaving.
Oh, so you're going?
I'm quite confident
November?
saying I'm going. No, December. Next month, December. So yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to be having busy RC December.
Good. Well, I hope you go. With that said, Max, I'm going to have fun at Florida Carpet Champs. You can follow all of that. Follow my action this weekend, guys. I do leave tomorrow. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that. And working with Danny and all those guys. So with that said, Nitro is the glory. E-Buggy pays the bills. Work 10 scale builds the skills. Max and Lefty. We're out. See you guys later.